Folks, welcome to Tabletop Tactics for this extremely special debut video, an unboxing and Codex review video of the all-new Leagues of Votann. Also known as the Squats, also known as the Demiurge, also known as the Resurrected Race from 2nd edition and Rogue Trader days.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who saw that one coming?
When we did the trader, I did think it was genuinely an April Fool's.
You could say it's a bit short-sighted of you.
Wow, that's it, and that's the video. That's it, we've peaked. No need to do anything else. So why don't we just jump right into this?
Let's.
Okay, I'm gonna unbox this right here, right now.
Okay. You do that.
Okay, so.
I do like the icon, it looks like it could be Autobots.
Yeah. Well, there is definitely, so you hold on to that one, will you?
Oh, okay.
There are definitely, I can see a blend of potential themes.
You can use this as a trumpet when you claim victory on the battlefield. Leagues!
So obviously it goes without saying, massive thank you to Games Workshop for actually sending us this army box because it's enabled us to, well, start using it.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. So a bunch of sprues in here. Okay.
Funny
nice.
that. You'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Imagine that.
Okay, when you have a look at that one.
So on here we have the pioneers, which are the bikers essentially on their grav bikes. And there's so there's 3 of these in the box, and one of which you can give the heavy weapon.
Yeah.
I do.
2 heavy weapons.
I don't get Magna Rails though.
No, they
don't.
Soon. I do like how the tactical rocks have boot prints on them. Like so that
cool.
you know exactly where to put your character on the tactical rock.
Yeah, they've put them. They've
cool
planted themselves.
It's a 3-part tactical rock. Who is that?
Look at this rogue trader.
Right,
He's got like a zombie guy. Here.
Yeah. So Games Workshop, if you're listening, next update or next new army, I want this person.
Yeah. He's
this
cool.
person and their friends.
Yeah. This is some sinister looking.
Like some zombie dude.
Right
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want
data cards.
Exodites.
Hello. Bases, always useful. And of course, the Codex.
The tome.
Nice.
The tome of power.
Transfers, some good transfers here. Okay.
I do like the transfers.
And some bases for your Pioneer jet bikes. Okay, right, we'll be back in a jiffy whilst I slice this open. We're back. The Codex is open, and yes, of course, we've had a read of the Codex, and we thought we'd also cover, we went over the sprues very quickly there, what's in the box? Well, you do actually get 2 units of 10 Hearthkin Warriors, you get Uta the Destined, who can also just be a generic card, exactly. You get an Ymyr Champion, Hammer for the win, and then of course you get the 3 bike Pioneers. You've got the weapon options for, it's not like a click, fit, or push.
No, it's full sprue.
They're full sprues, so you get all of the weapon options from the Ion to the bolters, to the Magna Rail rifles, to the missile launchers, etc., which we will cover in this book very, very shortly.
You get lots of head options as well.
Yeah, you do, including the AI heads, because they've got, they are, as you'll discover in the lore, they are equal in society.
I think you get 1.
1 or 2, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
little
for the
dome
10.
heads.
Yeah.
The Ironkin, they're called, which are basically artificial intelligence, which are on equal footing. They are also sentient as well.
Leagues of Votann don't mind the AI.
No, they do not.
They're on equal footing, and yet, ironically, every model shows them as servants.
It's true. It's true.
One thing I realised that when we were building these up recently to get them ready for painting, the poses that you can see on the box art, you can actually build them quite differently.
Yeah.
So the bikes that we've got that you'll see coming up now, they look quite different to the box art that we've seen from when they were first revealed. So what you've got on there is someone holding up a very large gun vertically.
Yeah.
But what we've done is you sort of pose it to the side and just sort of sticking it out so it looks like it's more in motion rather than being so static. So you can make them look quite different.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I think sort of having seen them. For those of you that haven't been following along with the Leagues of Votann reveals, I have been quite vocal of my dislike of the models. There is admittedly one model in here which I really, really like, but the Grimnir.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Because they look
It's not in this box though.
No, it's not in this box. But having seen them up close and with Fletcher's paint scheme, they look a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm still not 100% convinced, but they certainly don't They look a lot more interesting, and as you say, because you can do a lot of variety. So like the champs here are sort of very when you've got them like pointing their weapons or got like underslung weapons, it looks a lot more interesting. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of variety in the builds here, which you can do. Even just going as far as turning a head from forwards to the left. So that's what we've done on our Carl model. Yeah. It looks like it's sort of pointing towards a foe rather than being like, oh, go over there, fellas. Yeah.
And all of these miniatures that should be coming up on screen, Fetch has painted beautifully.
Yes.
Love the scheme. And I actually think our army's going to look really, really good on the table. Yeah. But yeah, you get a substantial amount. It's a combat patrol. It probably approximates maybe 600 points. Maybe if you've spent everything on the upgrades.
Yeah, if you splurge on upgrades, you're probably approaching the 750 mark.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of where it's at. So that's your box contents. Why don't we get into the lore of the Votann? Because ultimately, there's going to be a lot of you guys out there which just don't know anything about them. Perhaps don't remember the squats. Perhaps you weren't even born when the squats were around.
So many people. Oh, I've been waiting for them for so many years. It's like you're 30. You're literally younger than before they were removed from the game.
There's actually a nice bit of artwork which is a nod to the original squats, and I can never find it whenever I need to find it quickly.
It's the front. Maybe this is the first new faction since Admech, isn't it?
It is. Oh, here it is. So right here, you've got,
I think.
This is actually quite true of what the original squats looked like. And they basically had sort of like solar sunglasses on. Yeah.
And there's a lot of those heads in the box as well.
There is, yeah.
They're cool, Chef. They're cool.
They are cool, actually. Yeah. Like, I have to admit.
They're blocking out the haters.
Yeah. They're going to need a lot of lenses.
So, look, lore-wise, there is also a nod to one of the leagues that was destroyed by a Tyranid Hive fleet.
Yeah, it wasn't the squats that were destroyed. It was a particular league. It wasn't their home planet. It was just a random planet.
Right, that's right. And this planet now is a husk world. So the Tyranids, of course, came and they ate everything organic on it. And what you'll discover about the leagues of Votann is that Votann is actually a collective of artificial intelligence machines. You could say it's like Skynet.
Well, basically it is, but it's good Skynet.
It's good Skynet.
Is it though?
Well,
it is, yes. Yeah, no, it is.
For now. For now, yeah. There is actually a lack of sort of sinister foreboding in this codex. Like
they're very good guys.
They are very good guys, yeah. I would agree with that. They're probably one of the races in 40k which could be perhaps considered genuine.
They're the best of the good guys.
Yeah, the best of the good guys.
There's no, like you say, there's nothing sinister in there. There doesn't seem to be a lot of like internal sort of like politics or internal like disagreements. They're very much like, no, we're all Leagues of Votann, and
they can fight each other, but they've got guilds.
Yeah,
you know,
mercantile scraps.
Yeah, but it's all done, you know, ultimately for, to coin a phrase, the greater good of the Votann. So yeah, it's quite interesting. This league or these Votann, basically they've said that these are original humans. They've come from pre-imperial Terra, and they were, we don't know when exactly, but they would have been part of the original spacefaring colonizers and miners and engineering fleets of mankind.
Yeah, they're no longer abhumans, are they?
No.
Because they were originally, if I remember rightly, they were originally abhumans.
Yes, no. So they've been made this way now. The reason that they are, you know, I guess like space dwarves, is the Votann have actually got huge cloning machines, and they're ultimately born in vats. They're born in these cloning machines. Each generation is produced, as it were, and they are this shape and size because that's what makes them the most resilient to the voids, to the hardships of deep space. So basically over generations they would have been like normal humans, but over generations and generations and generations away from Earth, they have become this. They have been molded by the dark, so to speak, which is a really interesting piece of fluff. Now the Votann themselves, these huge AI machines, have ultimately over millennia started to decline. So their memory cores have started to become jumbled. Things which have been archived have become harder to access. And so there's a touch of well, they sort of describe it as senescence or being senile with these machines, which is quite interesting. But the Grimnir that you're talking about are the ones that actually commune with the Votann in these shrines, and they're able to get the relevant data core, and they can ask questions of the Votann. Sometimes apparently it takes centuries to get an answer back, and it might be a question back. Yeah, tech priest.
I love to imagine it's actually just like they go like, allow me to go and commune with the Votann. He's like, the Grimnir will go and speak to him, and he goes in. He just goes, closes the door behind him, pulls out a magic 8-ball. Yeah. Please come back later. Oh, damn.
That's it.
I like the idea of like a dithering sentient as well.
Yeah.
It's like this AI, like all-knowing AI, but it's sort of like getting your name wrong all the time.
Well, this is what happens.
Susan Jeffrey the Third.
Well, this is what happens with the Tyranid. I don't know if they mentioned the High Fleet. Was it Leviathan that destroyed this world? Anyway,
I believe it was Leviathan.
They came and destroyed this league. So the leagues are basically different. Think of them as different planets, or maybe spacefaring fleets, or mining worlds, or even sectors. There are some leagues are very small. Some are planetary spanning in the galactic core. Anyway, with this particular league, it was on one planet. Mining and resources and so forth. The Tyranids came, they destroyed, they'd actually destroyed the league. They tried to fight them, of course, but they failed. And the planet was completely stripped down. Now, they fought bitterly to protect their Votann. And each fleet or each league will protect their Votann, like, with everything they have. You know, it's their absolute priority to protect them. They don't believe in religion. They don't believe in the imperial religion, the imperial truth. But if they did have a religion, the Votann would be as close as you could get to being their gods. They are almost deities.
Yeah, it's very traditional dwarves. You know, the ancestors, like, you know, speaking to the stone. Yeah. But rather than the stone, it's speaking to the machine. Like, it's dwarves in space.
It's dwarves in space.
That's literally, it's dwarves in space.
And so what happened is after they're all eaten, of course, the Tyranids find the Votann, the heart of this shrine, but they're not interested in it. It's a machine. So they just leave it. And over centuries, apparently the Votann has gone mad. So none of the leagues, none of the kin go there because...
I want to go there.
Yeah, because this Votann has gone insane and apparently would lash out or...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the most creepy bit of fluff in there.
Lash out with what? He doesn't have anything. Unless he's got the clone vats and he's starting them back up again. Now that is an interesting bit of fluff that I would like to see explored.
Yes, I mean, well, they could expand on that.
Like, get Chaos Leagues of Votann. It's like Chaos Dwarves, but in space. You can see there's a running theme here.
Yeah, they don't like the chaos.
Well, speaking of allegiances, these are neither Imperium. Well, they're not Imperium for sure. So technically, they're Xenos.
They're Xenos. Yeah, they are. Well, I mean, classed as Xenos. I mean, they're an Imperial offshoot, but they're not Imperium. But they trade with everyone. Like everyone has their technology. They've been around for thousands of years, and everyone knows about them. And you're kind of like, do they?
They're sort of like an army of hustlers, aren't they? They're just sort of going out. All of the different leagues sound like mini corporations.
Yes.
Well, they kind of are,
sort of like battling against each other for like maximum profit.
There's definitely like mixed influences of fluff from things like Aliens with the Waitani Corporation, The Expanse. I don't know if anyone's out there's watched that sci-fi series.
You can see that in some of the models as well.
Yeah, it's very like neo-noir.
Yeah, there's like some sort of like faux Japanese kanji sort of anime influences in some of the armor, runes and designs as well, which is, I actually really like that aesthetic. I think that's done really, really well.
There was a great bit of artwork that I saw that was very like, because it's like this. Yeah. Like it's very like, you know, sort of Blade Runner, Skyscape, you know, sort of neo, but those sorts of stories are always like corporations are really, really bad. Like they've destroyed the worlds that they're on, or they're stripping, like even things like Total Recall, all the miners are on Mars, but it's their second-class citizens. And you don't have that here. It's like, no, it's basically a utopia.
Yeah, which is cool.
It's very different.
They look like capitalists that are keen to thrive rather than trying to go out and dominate everyone. It's very interesting. It's very different actually from what you normally see in the artwork. Normally you see war, like ravage worlds and stuff, but this one, they're doing all right for themselves.
Yeah, their main fight is with you know, external influences. They hate the Orks. There are a lot of Orks in the Galactic Core, so that's one of their
they live in the Galactic Core.
Yeah.
They live in the place which is all black holes.
Yes. So that's why they have to be so tough, I guess.
I mean, if they're very short, the event horizon's a lot difficult is a bit more difficult to get to, and if anything, it's a benefit to them because they just get taller. It's nice. It's a nice bonus.
Get stretched
Not that
out.
event horizon.
Yeah,
But also
You're
that
going.
event horizon.
You don't need eyes.
You don't need eyes. I mean, like there's some sort of like bits of like warfare stuff. Like Wars on Orkvare.
Yeah.
But like so like here's like
That's one of the cloning. That's the cloning.
Is that the clone bats or is this the ancestry bits?
I think that's the
because this is about the Votann.
I think the ancestor things are massive. They're pretty huge.
Oh, okay.
They look quite similar, sort of in like these massive pillars, and they've got like.
I mean, I have no idea what that is, but it looks cool.
It does
looks
look
like
again, the artwork is absolutely they as always have smashed the artwork.
Yeah.
I actually really like the aesthetic. It's a funny one because I thought when they said that the Leagues were going to come back, I was like, of all of the races that they could do in 40k, I probably would have chosen like something really alien and weird and different.
Like that, yeah.
Rather than space dwarves.
Yeah.
Having said that, and because I've read the book thoroughly now, I actually really like what they've done with it, because if you're gonna do space dwarves, they probably couldn't have put the fluff in much better. There are some things omitted that I would like. I would like more of a sinister undertone, because 40k, right? I would like perhaps a nod to this Votann being perhaps the AI which actually created the Dark Age of technology in the Imperium, and then all of a sudden we'd start to get into some really interesting stuff. None of that is hinted at here. They've acknowledged that they are pre-Terra, pre-Imperial Terra humans, but beyond that, they haven't indicated that the Votann are in any way the artificial intelligence which created the Dark Age of technology. So, which I think they should. That's the direction I would take. Then we could start getting some really interesting bits.
The platform's there though. Like if
platform is there, they could still do it.
Yeah.
You got to remember that when Tau were first introduced, they were unequivocally good guys.
Yes, right.
And then they over time, but that's kind of the beauty of the Tau, is that they were a new race to the setting. Yeah. And over time, they got more sinister because they realized that actually in order to survive, we're going to have to do some pretty horrible things over time. Because the Leagues have been around for so long, I can't imagine them changing that fluff now. Because it's like, they're not suddenly going to go, oh, actually, we kind of need to do some, like, we need to get our hands dirty. Like, they're a bit too clean.
Yeah, I think the Votann, where the weakness of the Votann is they would ultimately probably go with whatever the Votann said or told them to do.
But that's where they could get really interesting.
That's where they could get interesting, because if the Votann start to come out with a different agenda, or, a long hidden secret agenda, or perhaps they do want to go back to Imperial Terra, perhaps there are hidden data cores as part of the Votann on Terra. You could do this. By the way, none of this is in the book. No. This is stuff I'm making up.
It could even start off with little things like Votann, what should we do? Go and strip mine that planet. And he's like, but there's like an entire civilization there. Go and strip mine that planet.
Yeah.
And they're just like, but that will literally be genocide. Did I say go and strip mine that planet? Go and strip mine that planet. And they go, well, they are the Votann, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you could have an interesting dichotomy of, well, they're doing what they think is right, but actually internally they're going, morally, this is probably a bit messed up.
Well, they've already alluded to them, one going mad.
Yes, one has gone mad.
And that's one out of
and they
how
are
many?
Sort of changing over time. So,
but they're going senile, is what they're saying.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you can't do bad stuff.
Well, no, that's true.
Your morals might change.
Yeah, but I think it's just it's a really odd. It's an odd direction that they would go in if they suddenly went, oh, and now the Leagues of Votann have become evil, or more morally grey. It's like, why has this not happened before? Now it's something. It would just feel a bit contrived to me. It almost feels like they've written themselves in a corner in that regard, which is a shame, because I think it has so much scope. Yeah,
in terms of warfare, it's very much about defending their own assets. Yeah. Rather than going out and attacking, say, the Imperium or the Eldari. So they actually speak, they're not friends with the Eldari and the Tau, but they have alliances with them. They have had alliances with them in the past, and they do regularly trade with them. They do say they don't like the Drukhari, though, which is perfectly understandable. No one should like the Drukhari. They are messed up. So look, that's a little overview of the lore. You've basically got guilds within these leagues, which leagues are basically organized, multiple guilds within a large stretch of planets or a fleet.
Conglomerates.
Yeah, conglomerates, exactly, that have these forces, these armies, which are there to protect their interests. Simple as that.
Sounds like a mercenary private military
right,
force.
that's what it is. They're all PMCs.
Sounds like rogue traders.
It does.
But on a bigger scale.
On a bigger scale.
Or a shorter scale, you could say.
Oh! So with that, why don't we actually go over the rules? I know there's many of you, which of course are watching this, that want to go over the rules. What are our opinions? What do we think? We're going to cover that next. Time to get into this rules. We're going to cover this in a few different segments, of course, covering the main army rules, and we figured we'd show you what the league rules are for each of the different leagues in the main book as well. Now, we've read the book. We've not played any games with it yet. We weren't involved with any playtesting process in this book. So we've got this book just a few days ago, and it's as new to us, really, as it is to you guys. So we thought we'd tell you our thoughts and opinions, share what the main rules are with you here in this review, and then you guys can let us know what you think of it in the comments, and we can discuss it further there. So let's cover the detachment abilities first.
So it's pretty much what you would expect from 9th edition codexes so far. It's your troops get obsec, but also your bikers.
Yeah, strangely, the pioneers, the anti-grav bikes, also get obsec.
I kind of get it, because fluff-wise they are the ones that are the scouts, and they go out onto the thing, and also because you have one troop's choice otherwise.
Yeah, it's still a small
Yeah,
range.
I think it's because it's got one troop's choice. See, I personally don't get it. Like, I don't know why they get upset.
No, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I think it's fair to say right out of the gate before we get into this, like the miniature range is quite limited really in terms of an army. It's a bit like when
data slates.
Yeah, it's a bit like when Adeptus Sororitas first came out, and then you remember, like, was it like 9 months later they released a whole set? No, it was like a year later, was it?
I can't remember.
But basically, there was the army wasn't actually that massive to begin with, and then they added new units over time, right? So okay, obsec bikes.
You get your obsec bikes. You get obsec troops, so your Hearthkin warriors. Maximum of 1 Carl model per detachment, much like a captain. This is a good thing as well. And then you have your league abilities, league customs, so effectively your chapter tactics. Again, as you would kind of expect, there's nothing new or outlandish or breaking the mold.
Should we cover the main army rule before the league?
I think that's wise, because there's a lot of references to it.
Let's cover the main army rule.
Which of the main army rules shall I cover first? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, should we cover the weapon types first?
So you've got 3 different weapon types. So you've got hunter weapons. H, small u, small n, capital T, capital R.
Hunter.
Hunter weapons they're basically just that many shots. So
it's a way of getting around assault / rapid fire weapons. So they've given them a new weapon type rule, which is hunter. So it's hunter. 4 means you get 4 shots.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And I think
you can't advance and shoot that because it's not an assault weapon.
If I remember rightly, there is 1 weapon in here which is not a hunter weapon. Everything else is a hunter weapon.
Okay. What's the weapon that isn't?
A bolt shotgun, which is as cool as it sounds, but I'm pretty sure everything else is hunter. I'm just going to have there's a couple of pistol weapons in here.
Handy for close encounters.
What
a film!
But pretty much everything. So that includes like your vehicles and stuff. So your vehicles can shoot into combat without penalty because they're not a heavy weapon; they're a hunter weapon. So that's already very nice. You then have another 2 weapon types. You've got Magna Rail and beam weapons. Beam weapons work much like other similar sounding weapons, like the lantern, the Void Dragon Spear. It's you fire at something and then you hit everything between you and the target.
It's like a 1mm line.
So if a hit is scored, you draw a line between the closest point of this model's base or hull and the closest model of the target unit, and you do 1 wound roll against everything in the target unit and everything under the line. And then you have the Magna Rail weapons. You can't take invuln saves against them, and if you get an unmodified wound roll of a 6, your excess damage spills over. Bear in mind, most of there's 2 of them in the book. One is 3 plus D3 damage, and one is 6 plus 2 D3 damage.
So what that translates to is this is a weapon that can literally kill multiple models with 1 shot. Yes. If you roll the 6 to wound.
Yeah.
You do need to roll the 6 to wound.
Oh, but do you? But do you? Because now we get to the eyes of the ancestors. So, judgment tokens. Now you do get judgment tokens in here. You get a whole sheet of cards for them, and you're going to need them. Because
they're very useful. You need tokens.
So if every unit from your army is Votann and has the same league, again, not breaking the bank here. This is all as you should expect. You can generate judgment tokens on enemy units to a maximum of 3. These are permanent. So once you have 1 on a unit, it is there for the rest of the game. And when anything in your army shoots at something with a judgment token, you get varying benefits. But in order to generate them, 1 of 3 things need to happen. This is the 3 basic things. There are lots of ways to generate judgment tokens as well.
Including strats and warlord traits, etc.
General abilities. So whenever an enemy unit destroys a Votann unit, you get +1 judgment token on that unit that does the killing.
They don't like their units being killed.
You set up a grudge. Every time you do an action or a psychic action, you get a judgment token on that unit. So they don't like you taking stuff or doing things to sort of win a battle. And at the end of each of your opponent's turns, 1 enemy unit, just the one within range of an objective marker that they control. So if you're fighting over an objective, you can't put a judgment token on them if you control it. So just something to watch out for there. And they gain a judgment token. And then if a unit with any judgment tokens is removed from the battlefield because it embarks on a transport, enters strategic reserves, is redeployed, they keep the judgment tokens, they don't disappear. That should go without saying, but someone will question it.
That's it.
And same if like you've got abilities to split them up into multiple units like drones and things like that.
So if you combat squads, both the units will have the same amount of tokens.
Each unit gains a number of judgment tokens equal to the original unit. So don't split up, basically. But what do they do? Well, they've previewed it on Warcom, basically. What they do is for every judgment token, you get effectively +1 to your hit roll to make it auto wound. So you start off with 6s to hit auto wound with 1 judgment token. Much like Imperial Guard do.
Yes.
And then for 2, it's on 5-ups. And then for 3...
what happens with 3?
Well, it's for 4-up, would you believe?
That's crazy. Would you have guessed?
Sequential.
Well, it's crazy in lots of different ways. Because that's a very, very, very powerful mechanic.
Because it does count as an unmodified roll of a 6.
So we'll go back to our Magna Rail.
Remember the Magna Rail rule?
Yeah, and there's a few other things that do stuff on unmodified wound rolls of 6. So effectively, and bear in mind most of your armies in fact I think all of your armies BS3. So if you're firing at something with 3 judgment tokens on them, every 1 person like has a 50-50 chance of just wounding. Like you just bypass the wound roll, which is very powerful.
It's extremely powerful because you're removing an entire phase of the mechanics in that to hit, to wound, to save process.
It really skews their killing power.
So anything which does an auto wound is already going to be very powerful. It's already inbuilt very, very powerful to remove a whole phase of that mechanic. To be able to do it on 4s potentially is very powerful.
Because that's army-wide as well. And that's not like one
against
unit.
that selected unit.
And that's not like on the first unit that fires at them or then their judgment tokens are spent or then reduce their judgment tokens by 1.
Because they don't spend. It's like
it's just they're there
the minute
forever.
they've marked you for death, you are marked for death.
They're dwarves.
There's only one way to settle a grudge. And that's by killing them.
Total annihilation.
By murder. Yes, apparently. So it's a very, very strong rule.
So we covered hunters, we've covered beam weapons, we've covered Magna Rail weapons. There are 2 other things which should be noted: the steady advance rule and the void armor rule. Steady advance is an interesting little quirk because it's trying to, because they don't have 6-inch move base, they're 5-inch.
Yeah, they're 5-inch move base, but it's never modified. Advance rolls are never modified, and they auto advance free. You never roll for it, or 6 if they're an accelerated keyword, which is all your vehicles.
So they found a way to keep them semi-speedy because terrain could otherwise bog them down.
Yeah,
But with all of the hunter weapons, that does mean you can't advance and shoot.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I think they've got like one. I think they've got one assault weapon, as I say, which is a bolt shotgun. So it's not like you're suddenly going to be advancing your entire army and then they're still shooting. So it is a trade-off.
And then we have void armor. Void armor.
Okay, it's armor of contempt.
Yeah.
Off the bat, so you reduce all AP by 1. All AP, there's no cap on it. Yeah. In addition, you can't reroll the wound roll or the damage roll, and this is on everything. Even the Chthon Berserks who don't have armor.
They only got void trousers.
Void.
No, I think the Chthon
They are void of armor.
They don't have the normal 4+ save. Though.
No, they do only have a 6
They
up.
do only have a 6
but
up.
More importantly, you can't reroll wounds.
More importantly, rerolling wounds and rerolling damage is obviously hugely powerful. Yeah. Now, we'll caveat this by saying, look, your basic infantry, you're looking at a 4+ save. We'll cover the data sheets, of course, in this particular video. We're going to do units and combos where we combine it with stratagems and what league to take, etc., in the video over and on demand, which is also available right now for your reference. So sign up, support us, watch the video, and you'll get the rest of the book
free, baby.
But here's the thing. Your basic infantry are 4+ save, 1 wound.
1 wound, toughness for 4+ save.
Not being able to reroll damage against that, who cares? Doesn't matter. They're 1 wound. If they fail their save, they're dead.
The wounds is
the reroll wound is pretty savage.
And armor of contempt, as we know, keeps things around a lot longer than normal.
Now you are on a 4+ save. You're not on a 3+ save, but I mean, if I was a Space Marine, I would probably be looking at. It's like that the guy and the girl meme. Where he sees someone else walking past, I'd be kind of looking at the void armor going, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Well, it's what I've got with my Iron Warriors, which feels very special.
And as a chapter tactic.
And its Maeve army incredibly
resilient?
Yes, I was thinking vulnerable, resilient, thank you. But also, but then I think, what if my tanks had the you can't reroll damage thing? That would be massive for my army.
That's huge. Like this is the thing. It's a compounded thing because it's not just armor of contempt and you can't reroll wounds. It's armor of contempt and you can't reroll wounds and you can't reroll damage against certain things in the army which are toughness 8, 16 wounds and have a 2+ save.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you go, oh my god.
Yeah, that's when it becomes really, really strong. I think, look, it's fair to say army rules right out of the gate, I would say, are very strong.
Yes.
Let's now cover the leagues. And we'll go over those in some detail next. We're going to kick off with the Greater Thurian League. These are effectively the poster boys of
Greater Ultramarine Dwarves.
Of the Leagues of Votann. So this is the one which you would expect to be sort of seen more often. So the League custom is called Ruthless Efficiency. Models with this custom excluding COG models. Now the COG models are basically the AI models, the Ironkin models. They're like the little servitor.
Yeah, so it's worth pointing out that the cogs are the sort of the smaller ones, not the actual Ironkin models that you can build. So you don't suddenly go, oh, I built one with a dome helmet, so I don't get my army.
No, it doesn't work that way. The cog, they're basically
like
servitors, drones. Yeah, exactly. So models with this custom count as 2 models when determining control of an objective marker. So that's already massively good.
That's good.
Or 5 models if they have a wounds characteristic of 10 or more. So we're talking things like vehicles, etc.
Yep.
Already very, very good. Because if my vehicle could count as 5 models on holding an objective, I'd be good with that. Obviously, I wouldn't be OBSEC.
Very good for the bikes as well. You can only take them in units of 3, but if they count as 6
they can take up to 6.
Oh, well, that's 12.
3 to 6,
that could be 18 of them, so counting as 6 models. And they're OBSEC.
Each time a unit with this custom is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll or 1 wound roll when making that unit's attacks. So the first part of the army rule, very, very powerful because the game's ultimately won by holding objectives and getting points. The second part is also very powerful. We see it in things like Adeptus Sororitas and any army rule where you've got, a reroll hit or a reroll wound inbuilt. I particularly like this one because you can choose. So you take what's relevant to your unit.
You're going to be doing it on hit rolls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because you're going to be auto wounding a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. So let's go over to the third part, which is the Ancestral Judgment. So this is what ties in with the Ice of the Ancestors, those grudge tokens, if you like.
These are your super doctrines, effectively.
Yeah. Each time a model, excluding a cog model again, with this custom makes an attack against a target that has one or more judgment tokens, that enemy unit is considered to have one more judgment token than it actually has, to a maximum of 3. So you're not going to get 3+ to hit auto.
Oh, thank goodness. I was getting worried it was getting silly.
When determining what bonuses apply to the attacking model's attacks. So what does this look like? Well, reality is we know that if your opponent's going to have to do an action or a psychic action, which a lot of armies do in order to score on points, they're getting a token. This would now mean that they've got 2 tokens. If they're holding an objective you don't hold, they're getting a token. So this is like basic game stuff. Most opponents' armies are going to do that. So therefore, it's quite easy for your units to get these tokens.
Yeah, on paper, the judgment tokens seem quite limited. And then you actually realize, yeah, but if I'm losing units, I'm hitting back harder. Yeah. If you're playing the game, I'm hitting you harder.
If you're just playing 40k.
How dare you play 40k?
But it is an interesting one, because if you think about, now bear in mind, we've not played a game with this yet, but if you think about it in real game applicable scenarios, what are the things doing actions? Generally, this is a wide generalization. It's going to be these little tech units, you know, like a little 5-person scout unit, a mandrake unit, something cheap and cheerful, easy to hide, easy to do the action, raise a banner on your home objective or whatever. So, all right, if they get a token, they're probably not units which are generally that killy. So they're not going to kill an enemy unit. So that could therefore mean that they are not going to get that extra token. However, by definition, most of these actions are done on an objective.
Yeah.
So the fact that they do an action and that they're on an objective means they've already got 2 tokens by default.
Well, remember, you can only pick one unit on an objective, and it is specifically at the end of your opponent's turn.
That is true.
So if you've got like 3 raised banners going on, you'll put a token on each, and then you could choose one of them to put another token on.
Yeah, exactly. But you could stack you could stack it on, maybe there's an objective, like maybe it's their home objective, for example. They've got their squad on.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be one in no man's land.
No,
either.
exactly.
It could just be the one that
you're going to push out to no man's land, but you're not going to be quite quick enough to get out to their objectives. So you go, right, well, I'll just make that unit on your home objective super vulnerable, because even if it's like a big tanky unit, that's like, oh, I've got this parked on my home objective, come get me. You go, right, well,
okay, I will.
Yeah, but by
I've
turn
effectively
3,
got 3. Yeah. Well, not even by turn 3. You could do it
earlier.
You could do it
with them.
If they raise a banner turn 1 on the objective and they're holding the objective, by the end of turn 1, I can go, there's 2 tokens, but I'm the Greater Thurian League, so I've got 3 tokens on you.
Yeah.
So now my entire army on a 4+ to hit auto wins.
I think the judgment tokens could really stack up quickly. All of the leagues also have a stratagem, a relic, and a warlord trait.
We're going to cover all of that.
Of varying different degrees of power and abilities.
Just trust that, there are various warlord traits and so forth that can help buff, other things. Right, second one, the Trans-Hyperian Alliance. Love the name. Okay, League Customs honor the ancestors. Each time a model with this custom makes an attack, if that model's unit is below its starting strength, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. Okay, now the judgment tokens are unmodified, so you can't stack that.
Again, thank goodness, we wouldn't want this to get silly.
Each time a model with this custom makes an attack on an unmodified wound roll of 6, the armor penetration characteristic of that attack is improved by 1.
Oh, guess what happens on your judgment hits?
They count as an unmodified wound roll of 6.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that is good. So you're increasing the AP. Now, obviously, we haven't gone over weapons and stuff like that, but just trust that that's good. Is that as good as an inbuilt reroll to hit or reroll to wound? I would say no. I think basically armies that have a reroll to hit or reroll to wound inbuilt are basically getting a free command point with every single unit. It's a really powerful thing. But that aside, let's go over to the Ancestral Judgment. Each time a model with this custom, excluding a cog model, makes an attack against a target that has 1 or more judgment tokens on, you can reroll a wound roll of 1. Now, that's okay, but I would argue in an army which you're probably going to design around getting the judgment tokens on the alpha units that you want to delete, you're probably auto-wounding anyway, let's be realistic. So the reroll the wound roll of 1 will come up, but it's not perhaps as good as just stacking some judgment tokens on, auto-wounding on a 4-up anyway.
It offers some nice redundancy though, because obviously you're getting judgment tokens when a Votann unit dies. So if your opponent doesn't kill a Votann unit, it almost gives your opponent a difficult decision, because you go, I kill the Votann unit and I get a judgment token. Or I don't kill them, but now they're getting +1 to hit. And if I've got a judgment token anyway, even though they're now hitting on 2s, and they might not be getting as many auto wounds, but they're a bit more reliable anyway. So it's a nicely balanced one, I think, because it gives you some redundancy, which is always nice.
Yeah. Okay, let's go over the next one. Cronus Hegemony. So, which Hegemony apparently is like a collection of...
Hegemony?
Hegemony? Hegemony?
I mean, I don't know how to pronounce words.
I didn't know what the word meant. Apparently it's...
Hedge money.
Hegemony. Hedge money, yeah.
Here comes the money.
I'm going to say hegemony. Hegemony.
Someone tell us how we can't speak good in the comments below.
Anyway, I had to look the word up. Basically, it's
text.
a group of corporations, a collection of things.
Zaibatsu.
So,
Conglomerate.
yeah. So it's a conglomerate, but not using the word conglomerate. So yeah, exactly, right. So League custom is battle prowess. Each time a unit with this custom fights, if it made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention that turn, then until the fight is resolved, I'm sure you can guess, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in that unit. The second part is, each time a model with this custom makes a melee attack, if it's made a charge move, was charged, performed a heroic intervention, add 1 to that attack's strength characteristic. So +1 attack, +1 strength is basically what you're looking at. And then we come to the Ancestral Judgment. Each time a model with this custom, excluding Cog model, makes a melee attack against a target that has 2 or more judgment tokens, the AP is increased by 1. So this is your combat oriented, your melee oriented league.
Yeah.
There are definitely ways to make a more combat focused league army. Your basic Hearthkin, I would say, aren't.
Oh, they're not combat troops.
Combat troops, but when you add these rules in,
yeah, suddenly they can.
It's a bit like the Battle Sisters, Bloody Rose.
Yeah.
You know, you suddenly have, like, if you can create like a horde-esque thing going on, you suddenly get lots of attacks and extra strength. It starts to become actually quite oppressive, you know. So it can be built around really well. Do I think it's as good as, you know, if I was to give it a power rating, do I think it's good as Greater Thurian League? No, but I think it could be built to be really nasty, actually. A bit like Bloody Rose can be as well. So that's them.
Speaking of nasty,
Ymyr Conglomerate.
Yes, the Ymyr Conglomerate that get the word conglomerate rather than hegemony. Hegemony? Hedge your money.
Doesn't matter. Hedge your money, hedge your bets on Leagues of Votann.
Right, League Custom, Master Armorers. Add 4 inches to the range characteristic of all ranged weapons excluding relics. This is a bit Obsidian Rose-esque. Models with this custom are equipped with. Great. Models in a unit with this custom that have a save characteristic of 2+ gain a 4+ invulnerable save. Other models gain a 5+ invulnerable save. So first off the bat, you go, okay, cool, well, your basic infantry have a 5+ invuln. Their basic armor's 4+. They've got Armor of Contempt. There's an argument that a lot of basic weapons, they would always be getting a 5+ save anyway, so the 5+ invulnerable save won't necessarily be coming into play that often, and it is only a 1 wound model. However, on the units that do have a 2+ save, getting a 4+ invuln is pretty massive.
yeah, on your Land Raider equivalent, that's
Yeah. And on your Exo Armor...
Yeah, your Exo Armor, your because your Terminator equivalents. The 5+ invuln is actually very nice for your Sagittar and your bikes, because you are generally going to want to be shooting those with higher strength weaponry and higher damage and higher
multi-wounds
weapons. Anyway,
And 4-inch weapon range is huge. You know, anything which increases range on anything, be it movement, be it weapons, unless the weapons already have stupid range, but you know, they don't all have stupid range in here, especially on your basic infantry, which can really slap with their ion blasters, as you will discover shortly. That's pretty massive. It's pretty massive. So let's talk Ancestral Judgment. Each time a model with this custom makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within half range. If that target has 1 or more judgment tokens, the armor penetration is increased by 1. So we got a sort of running theme with these Ancestral Judgments, haven't we? So look, Ymyr Conglomerate's strong. Definitely strong. You would build around it, of course.
I think that's stronger than Great Thurian League, and the reason being is because you are short-range weapons.
Yeah.
So
you're probably going to build it around the short-range weapons as we all.
Having the extra range and the extra AP at half range is very, very good. And if you build around that, like even this with the armor of contempt, as you generally right, it's going to be you're going to have a 4 if not 5 up save against most stuff anyway. But what that means is you go, you know what, this little brick of 10 dwarves with their carapace armor are suddenly able to hold the line against things like Blade Guard or Scorpec destroyers or Abaddon by just going, oh, AP4, 5 up in bum. 5 up in bum. And suddenly that can really spike and allow you to be a lot
6
tougher
up in
than
bun. It is a 5 up, so you've got 33% chance. Okay, let's go over the Urani-Surtr regulates. League custom, Dow survivalists. Okay, the URSR for short has suffered greatly over the millennia. Yet still they endure. Right, anyway, add 1 to the toughness characteristic of models in a unit with this custom. Great, so +1 toughness across the force. That's good, very good. And you can reroll failed morale tests for a unit with this custom. Can be clutch. There's going to be times where you win the game because you're holding an objective, but you've only got 1 model left and you need, etc., etc. But generally speaking, I would say that's one of the weaker traits out of the league so far.
The judgment's good though.
The toughness is great.
Toughness is phenomenal though. Ancestral Judgment. Each time a model with this custom makes an attack against a target that has 0 judgment tokens, so this is a bit different, the enemy unit is considered to have 1 judgment token when determining what bonuses apply to the attacking model's attacks. So actually, that's really amazing.
That makes up for the morale.
Every single model from the beginning of the game.
That though.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
You can't. It's not like you're always counting them as +1. It's only if they don't have any judgment tokens on, you will get the 6s to hit become auto wound.
It allows you to get going a bit earlier.
But it allows you to get going
you can get them to 2 and 3 much faster.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now there are custom leagues. We could go over the custom leagues, but it will take, frankly, too long. Are there powerful things in there? Yes, there absolutely are.
The custom leagues, I'm just going to throw this out here now, okay, before we dive further, because in case you can't tell, everyone, our opinions on this book, as Lawrence has mentioned, is very strong.
Very strong.
This is exemplary of kind of my main gripe with it in terms of rules. It's most armies, you pick 2 custom traits, 3.
Yeah, they get 3.
Why? Yeah. Everything is just that bit better.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Just cause.
And there's examples of this throughout the book. You'll see as we go through that there's some...
The 5 up in Bun, for example. Most, as you said, most things are a 6 up.
Yeah, you'll see that there's a lot of rules that you'll find familiar to other factions, but they're just a little bit better. Sometimes a lot better.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot throughout the book.
So what's interesting about the fluff, so things like the ion technology, they sort of retconned a bit. So basically, Tau actually got it from there.
Frustrating.
And it's a funny one because, and this is where like the fluff is sort of like at odds a bit with some of the other factions like the Tau. Ultimately, it's in the fluff that the League's technology, because this is like almost not word for word, but taken from the book, because they're not reliant on things like the STCs, the Imperium refused to, they're so superstition and all this sort of jazz. Because they're not reliant on that. They've just sort of carried on over the millennia, advancing their technology at ultimately a faster rate than the Mechanicus, and they've basically got the best technology in the galaxy. You could argue it's better than the Tau's technology.
It's better than the Necron technology. It's better than the older technology.
Certainly the Ion it is. Certainly the Ion technology is better in this book than the Tau versions. The Tau do have, of course, some things which also slap, like their rail cannons, but these have got Magna Rail.
They got Magna Rail, which is a melter rail cannon.
Yeah. So like, all of the rules, the guns, the basic guns are just better than what you would see in other Codex equivalents. Now that, in theory, works, but it will all depend on the points, which we'll cover at the end.
I don't mind if the war gear is better, because that's the fluff
well, it is
aspect
a dwarven thing. It's artificers,
they're engineers. That's a very classic thing. I don't mind that aspect of it. It's when it's the war gear and the weapons are better. Cool, I can deal with that. Their rules are better as well. Why? Because they're just better. It's like, the Ion thing really infuriates me, because it's that whole thing. Like, they could have just written it in here and go, what happened is they were starting to trade with the Tau, and then like one of the Tau got really naughty and stole the Ion tech, and they reverse engineered it. That's why it's not as reliable. As it turns out, they just sold them cheap ion technology, and that's why it breaks. It's just like, so all of that fluff over the last 20 years of them going like they develop their technology, they build it up over time, and they prototype it, and they take it to the field for field testing, and then it starts off as a relic, and then it becomes a once per army, and then it's like,
becomes mark number 10.
It's actually just like sold out the back of a van.
Yeah.
That's so lame. It's so lame.
So, okay, look, that's the fluff behind why their gear is better than, most factions. Let's now get into the data sheets and some of the basic upgrades. We're not going to cover the stratagems here. As I've said, we're covering that in the video on demand.
There's 85 pages, as you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. They've got page upon page of stratagems. Welcome to 9th edition. This is how it goes. And yes, some of these stratagems can be used to break things. That's
massively
the way it goes. So we're going over the data sheets next. Settle in. It's coming up.
So next up, before we get into the data sheets, we have the Votannic Council, which are essentially your character upgrade options. There's 3 of these, 1, 2, 3. There's one for your Carls, one for your Grimnirs, and one for your Brokir Iron Masters.
So Captain, Librarian, Tetri.
Yes. Yeah, so you can make your Carl a Chapter Master, your Lord Grimnar a Chief Librarian, and then the Forge Master is like a Chief Tech Marine, essentially, which is very nice. So we'll start off with the High Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hello, well, hi there. So there's some abilities. You then get an Ancestral Judgment, a Warlord trait, and a Relic. I won't cover everything, but we'll just sort of go through these now. So your High Carl gets that ability, which allows you in your command phase to select one friendly league, core, or character unit within 6 of the model until the start of the next command phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So
there's a Chapter Master.
Chapter Master rerolls, there we go. Your Ancestral Judgment is called Efficient Exemplar. And this allows your High Carl model, when they destroy an enemy unit, if the model had 1 or more judgment tokens, you can select one enemy unit that's visible to this model. If you do so, that unit gains 1 judgment token. There's no range on that. You can see them, they're judged.
Yeah. I mean, he physically has to go and kill them, and they're not the killiest of models.
There are some killy models, that isn't the
There are.
killiest.
The Carl can be made killy, but you've got to invest points in it. But I do like that aspect of it. It's like he kills someone and just looks over the battlefield, you're next.
Yeah.
It's like
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm really enjoying, other than the lack of the sinister thing which I put on, I'm actually really enjoying the aesthetic and the fluff. Personally, I am very much enjoying it.
It's all the fluff and aesthetic, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's what it's all about.
I'm personally enjoying it more as we go through. There are definitely some opportunities with the rules, but we'll cover that later on. Warlord trait for your High Carl is Experienced Eye Carl. In your command phase, this Warlord can use their Grim Efficiency ability 1 additional time, but only if you select an enemy unit that has not already been selected for this ability during this phase.
So you'll discover that when we get to the Carls, that's basically they can look at something and give it a judgment token.
Yeah.
So this, if you're a High Carl, if you're a Chapter Master, you can do it twice.
He goes cross-eyed.
Yeah, and that's obviously really, really, really good.
Again, this just kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, though, because it's 40 points. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's
That's
expensive.
how much you pay for a Chapter Master.
Yeah.
But that's a Chapter Master and another rule. Now, that other rule probably won't come up too often, but it's little things like that where I'm just like, why though?
Another way to add on the tokens as well. So your Lord Grimnir allows you to
Epic
attempt one of my favorites.
The best model in the range.
Yeah. They are able to manifest an additional power in your psychic phases, which is what you normally expect. Ancestral Judgment. Each time a Lord Grimnir model attempts to manifest a psychic power from the Skeen-Rot discipline. Very cool name for a discipline, I do enjoy that. If there are any enemy units within 18 inches, you get +1 to, or you have 1 or more judgment tokens, you get +1 to your psychic test. It's quite nice. His Warlord trait is Ancestral Power, and you add 6 inches to the range of psychic powers.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
That's very nice.
That's a 30-inch smite. No, it's not, because it's not from that discipline.
Does it specifically say Skeen-Rot discipline?
Yes.
Okay, and it would be
Also,
24.
It'd be 24.
Yeah.
Again,
Judgment token, being an idiot.
again, really powerful. We won't go over the much like relics and stratagems and psychic powers. We're not going to cover here because there's so much to go through.
Yeah.
But their power, their discipline is very, very good. Yeah. Again, take something from powers of other races and make them better.
Yeah, I think generally the warp charge cast is lower than you'd perhaps expect with some of the other equivalents.
Well, to give you an example, there's an Ultramarines power, which is warp charge 7 to give you a command point. Their one is warp charge 5.
Exactly.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, and then the
Brughiel Forge Master. So this one gives you an ability where you can use a war gear stratagem for less, for one less CP essentially. Just for that one time, it doesn't do that constantly, but you can do it for 1 CP less, and that's about 6 strats, I think, a war gear strat.
I mean, some of the war gear strats are very good. Yeah, so it works like one of the Holy Orders, but it's 6-inch range, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to be close to him to benefit from it, but.
Yeah, so his Ancestral Judgment is quite a killy one. So this is called the Forge Master's Eye. Each time this model makes an attack on an unmodified wound roll of a 6, again, this will include judgment tokens which count as unmodified wound rolls of a 6. If the target has 1 or more judgment tokens, that attack inflicts a number of mortal wounds on the target equal to the damage characteristic of that attack, and the attack sequence ends.
Yeah,
that can be a lot of mortal wounds.
It could be.
I don't want that with that Magna Rail weapon.
Well, it's only for him.
Yeah,
it's only for him.
Oh, that's good.
But he comes with is that ranged and melee?
It just says the attack.
Okay.
So yes. In addition, if the Forge Master makes an attack with a beam weapon, this ability also applies to any intervening units that are hit by the beam that have 1 or more judgment tokens.
Well, one of his relics is a beam weapon.
Yes. So that can be quite nasty. Now I should mention the beam weapons. If there are any characters involved, Lookout Sir does still apply to the beam. So you're not necessarily
unless they're under the line. I think if they're under the line, they do get hit.
It has to be an eligible target.
Yeah.
Because it also, like for example, in the beam weapon, say it crosses over an obscuring piece of terrain and there's a unit behind that terrain.
It stops.
It doesn't. It doesn't hit that unit. It does carry on, but that unit is not eligible.
But then you can't see the unit that's behind the obscuring anyway, so it would basically stop.
It would basically stop unless that unit was, say, Titanic.
Okay, yeah.
So imagine
he's doing this instead.
Wraith Knight, yeah, exactly. You got Wraith Knight here.
Sure.
I've got Elder Guardians here. This is my obscuring building, and my beam weapon's over here, and it shoots another Eldari unit here. Hit this Eldari unit. It wouldn't hit the Guardians, but it would also hit the Wraith Knight.
That's not so bad, though, because otherwise you could use that for like.
It's good. It's not that good.
I mean, it's still very good if you can line them up.
Yeah. So you'll have to maneuver to get the best out of your beams, but your opponent will also need to maneuver to ensure that you do.
It does apply in combat as well for him, then.
It does, yeah. Last thing for him, the Warlord trait that's available to him is Master Armor. Now this is pretty tasty if you're going to be running him with vehicles, which you're going to be. Ordinarily, you would be doing D3 wounds back as you would do with a normal tech type person, but you regain flat 3 instead of D3 if you have any ECOG models, which are like his personal little drones. You just do 4 wounds back, which is quite a lot. In addition to that, once per battle round, if a saving throw is failed for any League vehicle or exoframe models within 6 inches, you can change the damage characteristic to 0. Yeah. So if you're trying to protect your more beefy vehicles, of which there is one particularly beefy one, it can be very resilient with one of these.
You can choose that as well. It's not the first failed.
Yeah, you can choose.
Yeah. So, I hit you with a hammerhead. No, you don't.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're probably going to take that guy.
If you're running vehicles, you're probably going to take him.
He's very, very good. And that's just a 25-point upgrade. Yep. Now, next you've got relics and warlord traits. The scheme will just
in the book and make it a better version, basically.
Yeah. So we're not going to cover these now. We will cover some of these in detail over and on demand in our units and combos video. Some of these relics are bonkers. In combination with some warlord traits, they are straight up broken. I'm going to say that now. So if you want to find out about that, you get yourself an on-demand membership. But next, we're going to talk about the data sheets.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Uthar the Destined.
Yes.
This guy here.
That guy. Yes. So
guy.
You can build him or a Carl from the parts in the box. Essentially, you've got your name character. The Carl can be a little bit more flexible with his own warlord traits. He's got different weapons. He's got a massive fist, which is an awesome bit. That is a gourmet bit. Yeah. Anyone that likes converting that is a gourmet bit.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice indeed.
The kits are gorgeous, actually. I really like the kits. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So Uthar is your name character. He's got 5-up move like you'd expect, 2-up for skill, ballistic skill, strength 5, toughness 5. He is a dwarf.
Yeah.
He is a dwarf.
Yeah.
dwarf, I guess.
Yeah.
6 wounds, 5 attacks, and a 3-up save.
Yeah.
He's got his Rampart crest. So this is the horse launcher, or the equivalent. So some of these models have got the little things on the top of their...
I think his ones are bears.
Yeah, so he's got the bear. That's the Rampart crest.
Yeah.
And that means that any League infantry or greater Thurian League bikers within 6 get a 5-up invulnerable save against ranged attacks.
Because they carry these domes, these force field domes.
Which is pretty tasty. You can't increase that range by any means, but a 5-up invulnerable save is nice if you're not running the League that gives you that anyway.
And he's got a 4-up invulnerable save with his void armor as well.
He does indeed. The Rampart crest, which is or the teleport crest, are the other option you get on the non-name character. You gain the teleport keywords, and essentially you can
deep strike. Yeah.
So you've got the option of either of those with the Carl, but you just get the Rampart crest with Uthar the Destined.
Yeah.
So he also gives reroll 1s like you'd expect normally.
Yeah, he's a high Carl, so he can give reroll hits.
Yes. Onto
he's got grim efficiency, so give someone a judgment token.
Yeah, so grim efficiency is visible. I hope.
If every unit from your army is you can select one enemy unit is visible. Yeah, okay, it's visible.
Yeah, he's got the Destined, which is another ability where any attacks allocated to the model, the damage characteristic is changed to 1.
Yeah.
Which is sure, why not?
Yeah.
I got hit by a rail cannon.
Yeah.
Nah, one damage.
Yeah, and that's each time. So it's not the first time. It's not one time. It's each time. So,
sure.
Now he does only have 6 wounds.
Sure.
He does only have a 3+ save, but there's almost no point firing a big heavy gun at him because it will feel bad.
Yeah. That is quite odd.
Yeah.
Why an infantry? Yes, he's like the named character.
And then look at Ancestral Fortune. Once per battle round, when you make a hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, or saving throw for this model, a friendly Greater Thurian League unit within 6 inches of them, or a friendly Greater Thurian League unit, you can change the result of that roll to a 6. So for any rules purpose, this counts as an unmodified 6. Yeah. Now, so that means if he saves it for himself, he can also just auto-save 1.
Yeah, I'll have him following around my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza tank with the Magnum Rail Lance and just make it an auto 6 to hit.
I've seen that meme going around on Instagram.
Super funny.
It is very funny. However, I really love those. I love the moon buggies.
I think the tanks are cool. They look like Colonial Marines.
I think they look so cool.
Yeah,
I absolutely love them.
It makes the Sagittal make a bit more sense as well. I personally quite like them.
Yeah.
I saw a great Photoshop of the pizza tank with the Ork Battle Wagon tracks instead of wheels.
Oh yeah,
it looks 10 times better.
So you prefer tracks to wheels?
Yeah, it looks 10 times better. It's like the opposite of the Taurox. That should have wheels.
That should have wheels, yeah.
And this should have tracks.
I don't know. I like
the beauty of the hobby. You can convert them as you will.
It's true, yeah.
Okay. So just very quickly, the Carl essentially is like your Space Marine captain, essentially. There's not really much else to say about that. He's got, you can give him his Mass Gauntlet, which is like a Power Fist, but better. Yeah. So it's so Strength 7 essentially with a +3, -3, just flat damage 3. Yeah. It is -1 to hit.
It is -1 to hit. So it's more of a Thunderhammer equivalent,
yeah,
but better because it is -3 AP. But you don't have as much strength, so there is, it's different.
He is only 4 attacks as well, isn't he?
He is only 4 attacks. And then if you go back to Uthar the Destined, with the Blade of the Ancestors, he basically counts a strength 6 -4 damage 2, but an unmodified hit roll of 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends. Or
3 mortal wounds if they've got judgment tokens.
Exactly, yeah. And, he hits on 2s. Again, though, he's only got 5 attacks. Like, is he good in combat? Yeah. Is he like an incredible...
He's not a beat stick.
He's not a massive beat stick, but the abilities that he gives your army are going to work really well.
Yeah. One last expansion on the Carl, you can give him an Autok Pattern Combi Bolter or a Vulcanite Disintegrator. Now the Autok Pattern Combi Bolter is a bit like a normal Combi Bolter, 24 inches, it's Hunter 4, so you just get 4 shots, Strength 4, Damage 1, but it's -1. Yeah. So you're always getting 4 shots, so you're always in rapid fire range, and it's also -1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's effectively a Terminator, but it's a -1 Storm Bolter on Terminator armor.
Yes. Effectively, yeah.
Yes, which is pleasant. The Vulcanite Disintegrator is 3 shots at 18 inches, Strength 5, no AP, Damage 1, but unmodified
hit rolls of 6 do a mortal wound.
It's Volkite technology.
Yes.
But that's on normally Volkite's on 6s to wound, isn't it?
This is to
that's
hit.
on 6s to hit.
Yeah.
Now, here's the weird. Just go to the Eye of Judgment for a sec. The Judgment tokens.
Yes.
No, too far.
What?
Because the book layouts are terrible.
Oh, yes.
Does it say that these count as an unmodified 6 as well, or is it only for the wounds?
It says, on a particular roll, that attack is considered to have been made with an unmodified wound roll of 6.
Okay. So weirdly, if you're firing at something with judgment tokens and you roll a 4 to hit, you auto wound, but you're not doing the mortal wound. No. So that's just something to watch out for there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to take the Ymyr champion? So what we'll talk about him briefly now. This is just a little spoiler for the units and combos. This is one of my picks for the units and combos. You can make this guy absolutely insane.
He can slap.
He is a beat stick. He's a beat stick.
4 attack space.
Yeah, so 4 attack space. Weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, 2 up save. He does not come with a 4-up inbun unless you give him a weave field crest, which does also increase his wounds by 1 as well. Yeah. The other option is a teleport crest, so you can teleport and you get the teleportation keywords. You can deep strike him. So you've got a choice there of basically making him beefier and foot slogging, or deep striking him and make him a bit more of a glass cannon. Again, if you're running the Ymyr Conglomerate, I don't care because I've got a 4-up inbun built in.
Yeah, because he's got 2+ save.
Yeah.
He's -1 damage because he's wearing exo armor, so that's the same as the Ymyr that we'll get to later, the combat guys. Because he's got a big shield, he's -1 to wound with melee attacks. That's nice. He gives reroll 1s to wound, but only to the Hearthguard units. Yeah. So your
a limited lieutenant.
Yeah. So your Hearthkin are not Hearthguard. It's only your Ymyr Hearthguard. Yeah. It's very particular. He also
exo armor equivalents.
He also has like micro jets attached to his legs, so he does mortal wounds on the charge. Each time he ends a charge move, one enemy unit within engagement range, you roll a d6. If you beat their toughness or roll an unmodified 6, they take d3 mortal wounds.
I guess that's the big
He
goes bolter thing.
Yeah,
the mass driver accelerator.
Yeah, because that's the ram shield. And then he has the option of a Dark Star Axe or a Mass Hammer. So the Dark Star Axe is +1, -3, damage 1. You make 2 attacks instead of 1, and you ignore things like shrugs. Yeah. So he'll have 8 attacks at strength 6, -3, damage 1, but no feel no pains, no damage. Caps, things like that. Yeah. Or you could take the Mass Hammer, which is just a bright lance on a fist.
I would take the Mass Hammer.
I would take the Mass Hammer every day of the week.
Would you?
I'd never take the axe. The Mass Hammer is ×2.
So that makes him strength 10.
Now it is -1 to hit.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a better Thunder Hammer because it's -3, so it's already 1 better.
Yeah.
And it's D3 +3 damage.
Wow. But he is only 4 attacks with that.
But he's also only 100 points.
Yeah. I mean, the averages are he'll hit 3 times, he'll probably wound 3 times, but let's be pessimistic and say he only wounds twice. That's still, then the opponent will get a save. Well,
depending on how many judgment tokens you have. I mean, he's strength 10.
He is strength 10, yeah. It is D3 +3 damage.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, you only realistically need one of these to go through on most characters or super heavy infantry or tank. Like against most tanks, he's able to box out most
He's going to do the business.
Like he's for his points cost and his defensive bonuses, he's very very good.
Yeah. That hammer's another gourmet bit as well.
Yeah. It is a really cool. It's a cool model.
Yeah,
it's just
it's a wicked model. So let's talk the Grimnir.
Also, just as a point of reference, just because I find this absolutely hilarious. You know those like mini ram jets that I mentioned, his little booster jets. That gives him the accelerated keyword, which means that he auto advances 6.
Nice.
He is fast. At this point, you should mention that all exo armor reduces damage by 1 as well.
Yeah.
As well. So he's 5 wounds. Potentially 6 wounds with a Weefield crest, but as you're saying, you could run Ymyr, which means he'd have a 4-up invuln anyway, so at which point you probably wouldn't take that. But yes, he's reducing damage by 1.
Yeah, he has a combi bolter as well. Then we have the Grimnir.
The Grimnir.
Best model in the book.
Yeah, wicked model.
They're
only 4 wounds, T4, strength 4, 4+ save, so you're back into your normal. Is there an issue?
I love the model so much. I love both options. You've basically got like, Freya, Shaman, Old Man Odin, And I even love the references with because he's got corvs, as in corvus, as in ravens. It's so cool. But he's so cheap for what he does.
So what's his points?
He's 80 points.
80 points. Okay. All right.
So you say he's got 4 wounds. He's technically got 6 because the corvs are models.
That's right, and there are 2 corvs in there.
You've got 2 cores. The cores come with an Autok pattern bolter. So he's effectively got a combi bolter.
Yeah, 2 shot strength, 4 -1.
He has a 4-up in bun.
24-inch range. Yep.
He has a 4-up in bun.
Yeah.
And he gives an aura to all core units to add 1 to combat attrition within 6. And if he perils and you have a corv model just dies.
Yeah.
And he casts 2. He doesn't deny 2 or anything like that.
No, you can deny 1.
But he has a 4-staff, which is AP 2.
Yes. +3 strength, damage D3.
So it's a 4-staff, but better. Now, he does only have 2 attacks. But it's you compare
He's not
that...
good in combat. Yeah.
No, it's just things like that which you compare that to other Psykers, which are 80 points, and you go, why is he so much better? Because he's a dwarf.
Every other force stave in the game is -1.
Yeah. And so as a reference, the Gene Stealer Cult Magus is 80 points and does not have a 4-up in Van, doesn't ignore the first 2 perils, doesn't come with a ranged weapon.
Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer is 90, I think, off the top of my head, or at least 85.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Which
the old
is such a
Grim.
shame because the model's like the best model in the book.
Well, the model's awesome, and actually, look, he's got great rules.
I would have preferred it. I don't mind the idea of psychic dwarfs because that's been in existence for the squats for ages, but I would have preferred it if they did something really interesting with or like different with them for dwarves, because dwarves are meant to be like, like these are super rare because they are the living ancestor. I'd rather be like, they only cast 1 power, but they can deny 2. Something different.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, I shut down the warp.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting. Yeah, more that resilient sort of... Okay, so then we've got the Brocchier Iron Master. So this is your Tech Marine equivalent. Okay, so they come with an Ironkin assistant and they get 3 ECOGs, 3 little assistants. They've got the option of a Graviton rifle. I think they actually come with a Graviton rifle.
They only have those weapons. Yeah, there's no Wargear options for these guys.
So Las Beam Cutter, so that is a beam weapon. It is only a pistol though, so it's strength 6 -3, and it's a 9-inch weapon. So as a beam goes, it's not as that useful. Graviton Rifles Hunter 3, strength 5 -3, damage 2. But each time the attack is allocated to a model with 3 or more, it's got a damage characteristic of 3. So this is the grav technology coming back in. Back, old Skyhammer Annihilation Forces, Space Marine players when they were a thing, and now you don't even look at grav weapons anymore. Well, now you can start looking at grav weapons again.
No, this isn't grav weapons. This is graviton weapons.
Yeah, 18-inch range.
Because it's better.
Yeah.
Heresy.
Graviton Hammer. ×2 strength. Now he is base strength 4 and he is only 3 attacks, but ×2 strength, -2, damage 2. And again, you allocate it to something with a save of 3 or more, it becomes damage 3. It's not a -1 to hit. So, it's quite accurate.
It's effectively a Thunder Hammer without a -1.
But his weapon skill is 3 up as
and
well.
he does only have 3 attacks.
Yeah. Manipulator arms, these are your sort of servo arms. Each time you make an attack, it's 2 additional attacks with that weapon. And he's got a Plasma Torch, which is +4 strength, -4, damage 2.
So it's worth pointing out that the Las Beam Cutter, the Plasma Torch, and the Manipulator arms are on your ECOGs. Yeah. So if they die, you lose those weapons, but you'd rather them die than your character.
Exactly, yeah. And by the way, same with the Grimnir, the models don't count if you for morale purposes if you kill them. Multispectral Visor, so this is his command phase ability. If the unit contains a Borkir Iron Master model, you can select 1 friendly core or vehicle unit within 9 inches. If you do so until the start of your next command phase, surprise, surprise, it's add 1 to your attack's hit roll. Classic Tech Marine territory.
Yeah, range weapon, but again, this also works on core.
Yeah, it's core as well.
And it's 9 inches rather than
3.
it's
a longer range than normal. Brokier's Guild. At the end of your movement phase, the unit can repair a model. It's D3 wounds, or we can make it 4 wounds if we become a super Iron Master, which you generally would, let's be honest. And then we're done with the HQ. So you can see there's not many.
Oh, he wasn't done.
Oh, he's got his Ironkin Assistant. So whilst this unit contains an Ironkin Assistant model, they can perform actions even if it is advanced, and it can shoot without the action failing. So
it's a good little Razor Banner dude.
It's a really useful backfield unit to do actions on local objectives. ECOG support, as I've just mentioned, don't count for the purposes of morale, etc.
And also, if you've got 1 ECOG, you heal an additional wound. That's where that 4 comes from with the Master Rocket.
Exactly. So then you're onto your troops. Characters-wise, they're all good. I would say that the Carl's...
Well, the Carl's mandatory.
The Carl's mandatory. Utar is obviously a Carl, but better. You know,
He is Thurian League only.
Yeah, and if you're running Thurian League, which I would argue, you know, I get Ymyr is
I think it's between those.
Is better. You're probably gonna, if you're running Thurian, you're probably gonna run Utah. In my opinion, he becomes kind of an auto includes. That's my opinion. Fine. The champion is a beat stick. If you're wanting to run combat units, which you should if you want a balanced 9th edition army, he's going to want to be in there. The Grimnir, with the psychic abilities and buffs, again becomes probably a model you want to take. But if you're running a standard battalion, something's got to give. You've only got 3 HQs, right? So what you're going to sacrifice at that point will come down to your list design. Hearthkin Warriors, first of the troops, and in fact, the only troops.
That's it.
Uno Trupo.
Is your basic squad. You have to take them in a unit of 10. You can take them in a phalanx of 20 if you so choose. Your basic stat line for one of the kin is a 3-up on your weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 2 attacks, base, leadership 7, but you're with your sergeant who's known as a Thane, it's leadership 8, and you've got your 4+ void armor as well.
The Thane also has 2 wounds rather than 1.
And 4-up invuln.
Which is an interesting little quirk. Yeah. So you've got kind of a mix, he's an exile. You've got kind of a mixed, not mixed save, but kind of, because he's got an invuln. Right, so let's just go, this is a good opportunity to talk about some of the different weapon options. So they can either be given the autarch pattern bolters, or they can be given the ion blasters. Now the ion blasters are a point more than the bolters. You spend a little extra on them, and the infantry are coming in around 11 points per model.
In the
12 points if you're given the ion blaster.
In the box, you get 10 with the bolters and 10 with the ion blasters.
Yeah, so you can equip them as, you know, as is. Now, the bolter is Hunter 2, so 2 shots, 24-inch range, so rapid fire always on. Strength 4 -1 AP. Damage 1. You know, fine. Nothing to scream home about, you know, not particularly killy, especially with Armor of Contempt around. Decent enough. If you give them the Ion Blaster, it's only an 18-inch range. But if you are Ymyr Conglomerate, that will become 22, which is pretty spicy.
Well, I like it.
It is only 1 shot. Now, this is the thing which Chef and I butt heads over all the time. It's only 1 shot. It's only 1 shot.
Good!
Okay? But it is strength 5, it is AP -2, and it is damage 2.
Why is a basic troop weapon damage 2?
That slaps. Now, you could...
Why is it damage 2?
Well, the Tau have it with their breaches.
They're not damage 2!
They're not damage 2, though. But they do have the high strength on those breacher carbines if they're in short range.
If they're within 6 inches.
This is true.
Not 18.
Well, the strength is only 5.
You don't care with Eye of the Judgment.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
You don't care.
That's the issue. When you auto wound, depending on what your target's got token-wise, on a potential 4+, then it starts to become really nasty. So, I'm picturing, just with that alone, we haven't gotten to the transports yet, but if you've got a Dwarf of Fury thing going on,
like
rather
Fisher
than
Fury.
the a la Fisher Fury from Tau, if you've got a Kin of Fury tactic going on where you've got multiple units in transports which jump out and do the damage to slaps, that's going to be pretty nasty. It's going to be pretty nasty because, of course, as you'll discover, the transports take away their lack of mobility.
That is the one thing. Like I have been sort of quite. I have actually been quite well behaved in my opinion on this book, I feel, so far. I don't know what you think at home, but that is one of the weaknesses of the book, is they do have ways of getting around the mobility, but you are often sacrificing a bit for that, because you're either advancing or you're inside a transport and therefore not shooting. So speed and the objective play is a bit of a weakness for them. But yeah, you really do not want to get in range of their guns because they are horrific.
Yeah. So then, how it works is in each block of 10, you can have, and this is quite interesting because it's as per the kit, which is why they've done this, but you can select up to 2 different options. So basically you get 2 special weapons per block of 10, but you can only have 1 of each of those types.
Yeah, so there's 4 special weapons. Yeah. You can only have 2 per 10, and you can't double up.
Yeah, so you get the high las auto rifle.
A good thing.
We get the L7 missile launcher, the Etakan plasma beamer, or the Magna rail rifle. If it's 20 models, it's the exact same thing. So if you've got a phalanx of 20, you could have 2 of the same special weapon twice over. So for me, there are a couple of interesting, there are a couple of them which you're probably always going to take and the other 2 you won't. Having said that, the more I look at it and I'd like to play it more, I'd be sort of curious to see how that pans out. Because one of the weaknesses of the army I've personally seen is I'm not sure, we're not getting lots of Horde in the meta at the moment, but I'm not sure how good they would be against a Horde type force, in my opinion right now, unless you build them in quite a balanced way. So what we've got here, let's cover the plasma beamer first. It's 1 shot, it's 18-inch range, it's strength 8, it's -3, but it is damage 2. And it is a beam weapon. So this is the first of your beam weapons with a half decent range where you could actually viably hit a couple of enemy units. Okay, fine. You then go to the high las auto rifle. This is 3 shots, it's 24-inch range, it's strength 6, -2, damage 1. Now, it doesn't look that nice on paper. You probably wouldn't take it over something like a beam weapon, and the strength 6, you go, oh, well, you're still only wounding Marines or you know, a lot of infantry on 3s. But when you take into account you auto wounds, depending on what the judgment tokens are, and you start to stack the number of shots up, it could start to become a bit more interesting. But at the moment, I'd still take the beamer over it. You then go over to the L7 missile launcher. This is a 30-inch range. You've got 1 shot at strength 9, -2, damage D6. So there's your like high strength missile launcher. But better than a crap missile. Or you've got blast, but not as long range though, so there is a downside. And then you've got your blast version, which is D6 shots. It is blast, and it's strength 5, -1. It's okay. It's okay, you know. But now you come to the Magna rail rifle. This is 24-inch, Hunter 1, strength 9, -4. That's -4. Better than a Dark Lance, Bright Lance because it's strength 9. -4. D3 +3 damage.
That's Magna rail, so no invons.
No invons.
But it's a Magna rail. So there's no invon save on this.
And you can spill over for anti-horde if you need to.
And you could spill over for anti-horde if you need to.
Because if you basically, with the concern of anti-horde, you just kind of go, well, cool, if I hit you and I've got judgment tokens, chances are I've just killed a minimum of 4 models.
Yeah. Now you can only take 1 of those per 10.
This is a good thing.
And
they are also the most expensive option. They're 20 points.
They are 20 points, yeah. So, but I think we can all agree that that weapon slaps. It's a really good weapon. To be able to sprinkle this throughout your basic troops, much like, you know, Drukhari, funnily enough, don't take the Dark Lance unless you're Trueborn because of the accuracy. But this is a hunter weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm not suffering a minus when I'm moving and firing with this.
So the lower range isn't as big of a deal.
Yeah. And also when you can take into account that I might be able to remove a mechanic out of the phases of to hit to wound. If I just go to hit, make a save, but I'm -4 and you don't have an invon. So if I just go to hit, now it's D3 +3 damage, that starts to become a really high quality, reliable weapon that you can sprinkle across the army and just make people's big things go away.
As an added benefit,
just look at it and it goes away.
It's the best looking of
it's also the coolest
models.
Yeah, it's a wicked looking gun.
Awesome.
It's a wicked
Very cool gun.
I think the rail rifle and the missile launcher are the picks for me in squads. Because the missile launcher is only like 10 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cheap and it gives you a little bit of
good flexibility. There's a little bit of anti-horde in there.
But would you take that over just saying, I'll just carry on having an iron blaster things?
For 10 points, if I'm desperate, if I need the anti-horde and the anti-tank,
just for a little bit of balance, flexibility. Right, now there are 3 like upgrades that you can do. There's a medipack. First damage you take is reduced to 0. Cute, nice. I mean, there are only 1 wound.
Only 5 points.
It's useful if you want to do like maybe tank a hit on a Thane, you fail your invulnerable save. And then you go, oh, well, I'll just take my medic.
But then you've got to allocate the rest of that phase to him, so you've got to be careful with that.
Depends what you can get janky with it.
It's 5 points.
The other thing with the medipack is there's a strat where you can bring back D3 models.
Yeah, which is that's
for 1 CP.
I'll just bring back my Thane.
It's only 1 CP.
Yeah, of course it is. Again, everything you can do, I can do better. Dwarves can do everything better than you.
Right, the Bearers unit, next one is multi-wave comms array. The bearer's unit gains the comms keyword. While the bearer's unit is within 24 inches of a friendly Carl model, the bearer's unit is considered to be within range of that model's kindred hero or ability. So basically the rerolls. Yeah. That's really useful.
Again, 5 points, probably worth it.
Pan-spectral scanner.
Fear my spanner of doom!
The bearer's unit gains the scanner keyword. In addition, each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack with a ranged weapon, you do not receive the benefits of light cover. That is very, 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 very good because
also gives you access to War-Spec scan strat as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
is also 5 points.
Yeah.
Again, I will refer to previous codexes like the Omni specs in AdMech, which was 5 points and then got increased to 10 points.
Yeah. So if you're looking at, say, if you're going your ion weapons, you're looking at around, and then you'll go a Magna railgun, and then you'll go for a couple of the upgrades. You could spend, let's say, you've got an average cost of between 140 and 150 points per 10.
Sounds about right.
Infantry unit. And then you've got the 4-up armor saves on top of that. You've got the Thane. You can potentially tank a hit. You can maybe bring back D3 models.
Armor of Contempt, no reroll wounds.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Yeah.
And they are aggressively pointed. That's what I'm going to say. They're aggressively pointed. I would argue they've got some weaknesses. They aren't that fast. The range on the Iron Blasters...
The range on the guns and
isn't good unless you've got a transport. So really the unit actually costs more because you're going to have to get the transport. You could argue you don't have to. You could potentially run them in a Horde-esque scenario and just advance up the board. We'll see how that plays out meta-wise. Yeah. But the obvious tactic is to put them in the transports, which we'll cover in a minute, and do it like a Fish of Fury style thing. Let's get into some elites next. What's up next, Chef?
Elites and others, yes. So first up we have the Ymyr Hearthguard. So these are your Terminator equivalents. Your toughness 5, strength 5, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3. Standard profile, but juiced up.
Strength 5 is nice.
Yeah, strength 5 is nice. You've got your 2 wounds. You only have 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Like, so you're a combat unit that's not that combat-y, which is a bit odd, but that's fine. You do have a 2-up save. Now, you reduce your damage by 1, so damage 2 does become not as efficient against you, but because you've only got 2 wounds base, damage 3 does, that's out there, and there's a lot of it out there, it does make a big difference on them. However, their weapons, they do have a good mix of weapons. So you come with either an Etacon plasma gun or a Vulcanite disintegrator. The Vulcanite disintegrator is exactly the same as the Carl has. Yeah. The plasma gun is Hunter 1, strength 8, -4, damage 2, and 24-inch range. So you're a decent little infantry killer. You also come with an Exo Armor grenade launcher. That's just a standard. So it's 18-inch range, Hunter D6, strength 4, -1, damage 1, blast. Fine, good little bit of extra horde clearance. And then you've got a choice of a plasma blade gauntlet or a concussion gauntlet. So the blade gauntlet is +1, -3, damage 1, +1 attack. So you've got 3 attacks at strength 6, -3, damage 1. It's not spectacular for a combat unit. No. Then you have a concussion gauntlet, which is a power fist, sort of. So you don't have a -1 to hit with it. It's +3, but remember your strength 5 base, so your strength 8. It's only -2, but it is damage 2. So you almost, you kind of have a choice between going for like
it's damage 3, the concussion hammer.
That's the gauntlet is what they come with. The hammer is for the Hessier.
Yes, that's right.
The champ.
Yep.
Because
it's not -1 to hit with the gauntlet.
It's not, no. So you've got the choice of kind of going for a mix of anti-horde, anti sort of marine, but you're not really massively killy.
No.
Realistically. No. However, your Hessier can come with a few options. So he's got a Weave Field Crest as standard for a 4-up inbound. You can swap that out for the Teleport Crest. So it allows him to deep strike. So that's quite a nice bit of utility there.
Yeah.
And he has the option of the Plasma Blade, the Gauntlet, or a Concussion Hammer, which is effectively a Thunder Hammer.
Yeah.
It's ×2, it's -2, it's damage 3, it's -1 to hit.
Yeah.
It is a Thunder Hammer.
Yeah.
This will make you very happy because how many points are Thunder Hammers?
20 points.
10 points for that.
Yeah.
Just half it.
Just because dwarves.
I'm crying in flesh terror.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Hearthguard.
They're probably the least attractive out of everything because I don't really know exactly what their role is because they're not a combat unit. They've got quite good shooting.
Dual role.
Yeah, but they're paying. Whereas a lot of the things in here I feel are aggressively costed. If we should use
my terminology.
Yes. These I think are slightly overcosted for what they do. If they had +1 attack, I think they would be fine.
Yeah,
at 35 points.
You can deep strike them in with the right crest, so they could act as relatively good ball control for an army that's quite slow.
Yeah. They've got a decent amount of shooting to be fair.
I mean, a unit of 10 with Vulcanite disintegrators, and do they have core? They've got core.
They are core.
You put reroll hits on it. You know, you can kick out a lot of mortal wounds that's not capped there.
Yeah,
they're quite interesting in that regard.
Yeah.
There is a place for them, but the Vulcanite disintegrator is only 18-inch range, so then you end up wanting to get transport, or you're going to realistically deep strike them. Ymyr. Yeah, or be Ymyr, that would also help.
Ymyr.
They are quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think
they feel an interesting role, but it's not
the Vulcanite disintegrator is the way to go. I think that would
be because they're a free weapon swap.
And then I would probably actually go with the horde clearance, and I'd give
blade.
the hammer because that gives them the extra attack.
Yeah.
And you know, we know with Vulcanite, if you've got a lot of it, it can actually really quite slap. You know, mortal wounds, just pinging things off is nasty.
Yeah, I think the Vulcanite and the plasma blade would be the way to go, primarily.
But would I spend 350 plus points on a unit of 10?
I don't think
Given what else is in the book, probably not. But yeah, interesting one. I love, I mean, because I've been playing since 2nd edition, so like I love the idea of exo armor and everything it's doing. But yeah, let's go on to the Berserks next.
Okay. These models exist.
So you're not a fan of the models.
Is anyone a fan of these models?
Go on. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
I don't like that they have the void armor rule because they've only got void trousers.
Yeah, they got void shin.
But as a result, they do only have a 6+ save, so they have thought of that.
Well, they do, but they are also toughness 5.
They are toughness 5,
and they do have 2 wounds.
They do have 2 wounds,
and they do have a 5-up feel no pain or a 4-up feel no pain against damage 1.
Yeah. Now I get why they've done this because this is like sort of like a Slayer equivalent if you're going to harken it to fantasy. But I think even fluff-wise, like it doesn't make sense. I would just have like a combat Hearthguard unit and a shooty Hearthguard unit, like assault terminators. Tactical terminators. That's what I would do.
This is what they've done, is they've gone, let's put Slayers into 40k.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't get why you would run around, why they would, it's with their fluff as well, run around like not wearing the armor.
Yeah. Their fluff is literally, in order to go mining in like the nebula of stars and like plucking out the cores of stars, they don't wear armor and punch it. What? No. That's so stupid.
They would use their technology to have good plasma cutters and all of this sort of jazz. And maybe that's what I would have like on a Hearthguard combat unit. Sure, you could give some of them like the concussion hammers and axes, but maybe they've got like plasma torches.
Well, that's kind of like the
interesting pistol weapons that could be used in combat. That's how I would have done it.
Just skipping ahead, just because we're on the topic of it, and then we'll go over the rules. Because the Brock here, they've got the exo frames, so they are adapted from void rigs used to maintain kin spacecraft, and these are shooty ones, which we'll get to.
And they are wicked models. I really like them. They're great. I really like them. We've got like servo harness things going. That's really cool.
But like a unit of those as a combat equivalent would be really interesting. So they're there to like repair. Kind of again, if you want to use the fantasy equivalent, they're like the Caradron Overlords because they've got the engine riggers who float around with their balloons to like fix stuff with their rivet guns, but they like saw through like damaged holes to cut it off and repair it, but they use those in combat. Anyway, so the Chthonian Berserks, not related to the Horus Heresy, not related to Chthonian. Chthon is an old term for underground. That's all it is, guys. It's not a reference to Space Marines, okay? No. Unfortunately, despite the fact that these models are, in my opinion, not very good, I'm going to be seeing a lot of them because they're very good in the game.
Yeah, they slap. Strength 5, toughness 5, 2 wounds, 3 attacks.
3 attacks.
Only a 6-up save, but...
As mentioned, the 5-up or the 4-up in Vun, you can't reroll wounds against them because of void armor.
More importantly,
Well, it's a 4-up invuln against damage 1. 4-up shrug rather against damage 1.
Yeah.
They also reroll charges. They also fight on death. And they're basic. You're never going to use the hammers because it says all the models in the unit can have their plasma axe replaced with a concussion maul each. So you must do it for the whole unit. So the hammer or the maul is ×2 -3 damage 3 -1. So it is good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
It is good. It's damage 3, yeah.
But
And strength 10.
because you have to do the whole unit, it doesn't make it quite as good as if you could mix them in. The axe, however, is +1 -3 damage 2, or you can double your attacks at -3 damage 1.
Yeah.
So you've got horde clearance and elite clearance. Yeah. Now they are a free swap regardless, but if you could mix in the mauls and the axes, I think they would be bonkers
Yeah.
good. You've then got the option to take. For every 5 models, you can take twin concussion gauntlets, which is +3 -2 damage 2 +1 attack.
Yeah.
So it's similar to the concussion gauntlets of the Hearthguard, but with +1 attack. Someone in the design team was playing a lot of League of Legends when they were designing that model because it's basically Vi.
I do feel like there should be more characters with double power fists.
It's a cool concept.
Cool.
I mean, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty.
You got like some character that's like a notoriously great at boxing.
Yeah.
But when he goes into battle, he's got his double gloves.
Yeah. And then you can also take a mole grenade launcher, which is, I think they've previewed this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the one with the servitor that's carrying his axe, which you made a very good point. And the blade is turned off.
It's powered down.
That's a cool little detail. I like that.
I think I've seen people a bit confused about what their actual weapons are, but they're like plasma blades essentially.
Yeah. It's like a plasma cutter.
Yeah.
So he's got a powered down one on his back.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So because he's got a friend on his base, so that he can have his servant. I mean, his totally on the level and exactly the same rights as him.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence Ironkin, he gets +1 wound and attack, even though he's the one that's making the attack with the axe or the hammer.
Yes.
Fine. The mole grenade launcher itself is Hunter D6, strength 5, -2, damage 1, blast, can target units out of line of sight. More importantly, it gives you the subterranean explosives keyword, which ties in with a stratagem, which is like the Thunderfire cannon one of like your -2 to advance and charge and thing. But again, guess what? It's 1 CP rather than 2 because it's just better.
Yeah.
They're 22 points a model.
Yeah.
They are cheap for what they do because they're like Repentia in that
they are really good.
They fight on death, which
they are
as we
only
know is
2
very
wounds.
powerful.
Fighting on death is massive. Rerolling charges for a combat unit is massive. They're core, so you can even reroll to hits. See, I kind of disagree with you. I think there is a place for the concussion maul.
I think there's a place for both, but the axe, I think, is the good.
Yeah, it depends on what you're building. It depends on how you're building your list. I think axe is obviously brilliant all round.
It's the -1 to hit on the maul.
Yeah, but because they are core, depending on how you're synergizing it, you could give them reroll hits. So where the -1 won't matter as much.
But then I think you need them in a transport because they only have the 2 wounds and the 6 of save. You need those guys in a transport.
It is still 2 wounds though, because if you think about Repentia being just 1 wound, like it will take a bit longer to get through them.
It will, and
again,
the ignore wounds is
Ymyr
tough.
Conglomerate. I got a 5-up invuln.
Yeah.
Bosh.
Yeah, that starts to become quite interesting.
Now for 22 points.
They
That's
are
really
your
good.
premium combat unit in the book.
They're your killy combat unit.
In an army, which I would say is actually relatively weak combat-wise. I still think that a lot of dedicated combat armies are going to slap these people about. The problem is that when you can fight on death, that is, you kill me, but I kill you. And that's an incredibly powerful rule because you've basically got no downside there. I'm sure your unit dies, but it will make its points back, assuming it's made combat.
It is fight on death if you've not already fought. Like it's not like some special super dwarven ability where they get to fight
like
and
the
then
old
die.
Wolfen.
Oh God,
that's great.
So I think they're very. I'm sure that the maul is. The grenade launcher is 10 points and the concussion gauntlet is 5 points. I mean, I think I'd probably take a grenade launcher just for the strat.
Yeah.
And because it does give a guy an extra attack for some reason.
Yeah, and if you think about units that are like a backlining unit in your opponent's home objective, if you've got a few judgment tokens on there, you're just going to mold them to death.
Death by mold.
I mean, it's another option.
Yeah, so they're an interesting unit because they do offer something that the army does need. I think they're, again, aggressively pointed for what they do at 22.
So what we got next? We got the Pioneers.
The Pioneers,
The bikers.
Bike Boys.
Beard.
The boys of bike, yes. So you can take these in units of 6.
Yes.
Which is very cool. You get 3 in the box, but you can run up to 6.
Yeah.
They move 12 inches, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, and a 4-up save.
Yeah.
Now, 2 of these, one of these you can run with a heavy weapon.
Yep.
And the other 2 have their bolt revolvers, bolt shotguns, and their Magna Coil autocannons, which looks like a stubber.
Yeah, that's
Looks
a
like a
standard
stubber.
weapon that it comes with. Strength 7, -1, damage 2, but 3 shots.
Yeah,
It's the suppressor's accelerator autocannon, basically.
But on a bike.
On a bike.
it's pretty gnarly.
And
only
not,
24.
and not heavy.
It's only 24-inch range.
Yeah.
It is only 20.
But you've got a 12-inch move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, actually.
So one model, like I said, can have a heavy weapon. It can have a high las rotary cannon or an ion beamer.
Yep.
And if you have either of those weapons, you have +1 to its attacks and wounds characteristics.
Yep.
Because
Because
you've
you've
got
got
a gun.
a gunner on top.
Which is cool.
So the high las rotary cannon, which I believe is the one that you like, 24 inches, it's Hunter 9, strength 6, -2, damage 1. So there's a bit of nice hall clearance that you
I
wouldn't
like it
necessarily have
depending
before.
on how you've built the rest of your list.
Sure.
Yeah.
The other option is the Magna Coil autocannon, 24 inches again, Hunter 3, strength 7, -1,
That's what it
damage
comes
2.
No, that's the base weapon.
That's what
Oh, sorry, no,
beamer.
the ion beamer,
Ion
sorry.
beam.
Hunter 2, 18 inches, Hunter 2, strength 7, -2, damage 2. This is another beam weapon.
Yeah. So you're getting around the 18-inch range of that beam weapon, and because of your speed and the fact you've got fly, this is where you can really line the beam weapon up. Now, the weakness, in theory, of the weapon is that it's only strength 7, but the reality is you're going to put this on a unit which has got judgment tokens on it. You're going to try and circumnavigate the to wound roll anyway, which will then, by default, get everyone under that beam.
I think
Right.
I'll just check that.
I know you do need to roll to wound each one separately.
Just check that.
So my understanding is that you'd hit and auto wounds the unit that you've targeted, but then you would need to roll to wound.
Let's
the other
read
unit
it verbatim. So some Votann weapons have the beam ability. Beam! Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if a hit is scored, draw a line between the closest point of this model's base or hull and that of the closest model in the target unit. Make 1 wound roll against the target unit and each other unit this line passes over, excluding units that were not eligible to be targeted by this weapon when targets were selected. So, okay, cool. So there's your character bit, as you say. When a vehicle model makes an attack, it's only resolved against the target unit, cannot hit any other unit. Right. It doesn't say how it interacts with judgment tokens. Because on an unmodified hit roll of a 4+, that attack successfully hits the target. On an unmodified hit roll of a 4+, 5+, 6+, if that attack successfully hits the target, it also automatically wounds the target.
Yes.
So this says it.
You make
This
one.
say it does. It says you make 1 wound roll. It doesn't say every unit under the line is also hit. Make a separate wound roll for it. So you would. So even if you rolled the 6 to.
Yeah,
or
you'd
the
need to
five,
roll the
You would
wounds
need to
on
roll the
yours.
wound for the one underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Now, the reason why I quite like the 9 shots.
Oh, those guys also, because they're OBSEC, don't forget, they also have a 12-inch pre-game move.
Yes, they do.
So you are on the objectives turn 1.
Yeah.
Weirdly, you might not want to do that because of judgment tokens, but it's also really good.
The reason I like that, and it's quite good that you can't take multiple high las rotary cannons, but because it is 9 shots, because they are core, you could give rerolls, or they could be near a character that could provide rerolls of some kind. The fact that you could potentially be putting it on units where the hit becomes an auto wound, it gets around the strength 6.
Yeah.
And then
Which is still already
I've just
good.
learned through painful experience, if you're forcing people to make loads of saves, it just adds up. Whatever the enemy unit is, it just adds up. Even on tanks and stuff, it's like, and it's a -2 as well. It's a pretty decent minus. It's a good modifier to have, but you can only have 1 per 3.
That is true. On the other 2, you do have 3 war gear options that you can do as well, but not on the one with the heavy weapon. So you've got your roll bar searchlight, a multi-wave comms array, and a pan-spectral scanner or spanner. The roll bar searchlight essentially gives your unit just to ignore dense cover, which is nice for your heavy weapon. The multi-wave comms array means that if you're within 24 inches of your Carl, you can get your rerolls. And then the scanner gives you, you can ignore light cover, and then you can also do the all-spec scan type thing as well, which is quite nice for a zippy unit.
Yeah. You see, weirdly, I can see this as being a good I'm going to remove that opponent's troops unit from an objective.
Yeah.
I don't need to be near my character. I can have 6 of these bikes. I'm going to hit you with all of my autocannon shots, which have actually got a pretty decent
There's still
strength
3
of
shots at
autocannon.
strength 7 -1.
And then I've got my high las rotary cannon on top of that, which has got a longer range than the ion beamer, which allows you to be this horrible harassment unit, staying just out of striking assault range of your opponent whilst peppering them with withering firepower.
What's the range of the shotgun?
The shotgun is 12 inches.
Yeah,
It's a bolt shotgun.
So like even at 24-inch range, a unit of 3 of them is only about 100 points, because I think they're 30 points base, and then by the time you've done like your little upgrades, you're looking at around about 100 points. So you're then going, just a unit of 3 with a high las beamer is, because that's 10 points?
Well, if you've got the Pioneers here, 30 points a model. The high las is like 10 points.
10 points.
So yeah, in fact, a unit of 3 is 100
Unit
points
3
with a high
is
las.
100 points. That's still 18 shots at ballistic skill 3 in pretty much anywhere you want to be on the board, with a 12-inch pre-game move, fly, and a 12-inch normal move.
Now you ask me the next question. Ask me how many points suppressors cost.
Oh, I believe they're 100 points.
It's 100 points for 3.
Yeah.
Ask me how many wound suppressors have.
2.
They have 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Okay. This is toughness 5, suppressors are toughness 4. These are 3 wounds each. Suppressors are 2 wounds.
Yes.
Okay. These are 3 attacks each.
Yes.
Suppressors are 2 attacks.
Yes.
They only have a 4+ save. That is the one perceived weakness in comparison with suppressors.
But you got void armor.
You've got void armor, and all of their weapons are hunter. Suppressors with all of their gyro stabilizers still take the -1 to hit, which is why you basically never see Space Marine suppressors, which is a real shame. But this is a good example of a fast attack versus a fast attack, which these Pioneers make suppressors look embarrassing.
I think they make most fast attack look embarrassing. Yeah, like the argument will be, oh, but they've only got a 4-up save, but they're also only 100 points for 18 shots at 24
and
inch
9
range.
wounds.
9 wounds with
Well, in fact,
toughness
sorry,
5.
they're 10 wounds because
10 wounds
if you've got a heavy weapon, you get the extra wound.
With Armor of Contempt, no reroll wounds, no reroll damage.
There's a strat where you can give them -1 to hit when they move, and if you advance, you can't re-roll the hits either.
Yeah, so they're OBSEC as well.
For 1 CP.
They've got fly, their core.
Yeah.
They've got, their basic weapon is an autocannon.
Yeah.
But better.
But okay,
It's a accelerator auto.
You're trading 24 inches of range for an extra shot. I know which one I'll take every day of the week.
Yeah, and also not being a heavy weapon. Granted,
Not
they'll
being
be
a
on
heavy
bikes
weapon.
anyway, but still.
You've then got, if you get really up close, you get an extra 6 shots with your bolt shotguns, two each.
Yeah.
So you've got anti-horde in there, a little bit of anti, okay, sure, it's only -1, Armor of Contempt, fine, but each failed save against a Marine is 1 dead.
Yeah.
Or, against a Lich Guard, where I don't get Armor of Contempt with my Lich Guard.
Yeah.
So you've got anti-horde, anti-infantry, board control, harassment, cheap.
Yeah.
And they're fast, so that is one of the inherent weaknesses of the army. You just go, I don't care.
But they're also OBSEC.
But they're
And that's where it slaps. That's where it slaps. Okay, all right. So that's the Hernkin Pioneers.
The moon buggy.
And again, like that's a good example of like I don't know where the exo suits would fit in for me.
Yeah.
And I actually like the models of the exo suits. I actually really like the Pioneer models as well. I prefer the Pioneer models actually.
You
But
prefer
anyway.
the Philips Razor over the Baby Terminator?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, sorry. But
You shouldn't be apologising to me. You should apologise to yourself for your lack of taste.
But here's the thing: the Pioneers are very good rules.
Yeah, they are very good.
And so I probably take them. Anyway, then we've got the Sagittor.
Sagittor, the moon buggy.
Yeah, you can have 1 to 2 of these.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, these are a fast attack.
Yeah,
they're
they're not
not a
dedicated
dedicated
transport. So this is where things start to become conflicted.
Yeah. Now you can take 1 to 2. If you take them as the 2 as a squadron, they set up like tank squadrons often do. They set up within 6 inches of each other and they can operate independently.
Yeah.
When they explode, everyone within 6 takes a mortal wound. They are toughness 7, they are 9 wounds, they are a 3-up save. They have a 12-inch move.
Yep.
Now, they do have an interested... AdMech players, what's the most frustrating, other than your entire, way of playing your army, what's the most frustrating thing in terms of rules in that book? If you answered anything other than the Transvector's transport ability to go, here's 2 separate units, but separate them before the game and put them into 2 separate things, but disembark them together. It's that, but on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if this unit contains 2 models, then before the battle, at the start of the declare reserves and transport steps of the mission sequence, you can select one Hearthkin Warriors or Berserks unit that contains 10 models. If you do so, that unit is split into 2 units, each containing 5 models. When splitting a unit using this ability, make a note of which models from each form each of the 2 new units. Yeah. And they must start the battle embarked within one of these 2 Sagitteur models.
Yeah.
But you don't have to deploy them next to each other, so you don't have to do the really annoying AdMech thing of putting them next to each other within a certain range. So you basically get combat squad if you take 2 if they have a unit of 10. But they can only transport
5. That's why this rule's become sort of... Yeah.
They can only transport 5. They can't transport exo armor or exo frame, so you can't put your Hearthguard in there, but you can put a unit of 5 Berserks in there.
You could, yeah.
And that's where they get cheeky.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're guns, because they come base with a twin bolt cannon.
Yeah.
Which is a heavy bolter but better, because it's 6 shots, it's Hunter. But it's strength 6 -2, so it's a better heavy bolter.
Yeah, better heavy bolter.
And then on top, you can come with either a high las beam cannon, which is a 24-inch range las cannon, but it's 2 shots and a beam.
Yeah, it's an Icarus las cannon, but better because it's beam.
Beam.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that is heavy.
That is
one of the few heavy weapons in the book.
But it is on a vehicle, so who cares?
Yeah,
other
shooting
than if
into
you're in
combat. Shooting into combat.
Yeah, other than
but also, you're on a vehicle, so it doesn't really matter too much. You could swap that for an L7 missile launcher, exactly the same as what you've got on your infantry, so you probably won't bother. A Matter autocannon, which is a -2 autocannon that's heavy 6, but again, 24-inch range. This is a running theme in the book. A lot of their weapons are just better, but they are shorter range.
They are shorter range.
So that is a downside. So trying to set up the firing lanes could be difficult.
They're like a mid-range army.
Yeah. Or a Sagitteur missile launcher, which is heavy 2, strength 10, -3, damage free. I think I'll take the beam cannon.
Yeah.
And I believe... and now the beam cannon is 20 points.
It is. And that does make the unit like 130 points.
Yeah, they're 110 base.
Which, they're only toughness 7.
Yeah.
They're only 9 wounds. They don't degrade as a result in terms of vehicles. These are like a bit Drakari Raider-esque, except they don't degrade.
They're more like a Venom.
They're more like a Venom, but...
They carry 6, they don't degrade, they're quite fast.
Yeah, but they do have the Void Armor, so you can't do it. Again, the reroll wounds and the not being able to reroll damage
that's huge.
It does sort of make those 9 wounds go a lot further.
Yeah. And you can boost them further with the Iron Master as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
make them 0 damage.
But it is a fast attack slot. Yeah. They are in.
They are competing with the Pioneers.
They are competing with the Pioneers, unless you start taking another detachment of something, which costs CP, which if we're going by Nephilim GT is going to be pretty painful.
It's odd that isn't a dedicated transport. There must be a reason for that. It feels like it would...
I think it's because you can take them in squadrons of 1 to 2. Yeah. It's one of those rules where you go, on paper, that's really cool and fluffy, and I guess that they're trying to go towards the scale aspect of it, is that realistically you wouldn't be able to fit 10 models inside there. Yeah. But I'd rather they just go, well, I mean, the Rhino can't fit 10 models in there, clearly. Just make it a dedicated transport, make it 1, and make it carry 10.
Sure.
But maybe they were concerned about Berserk, the units of 10 Berserks in there, or units of 10 guys with Iron Blasters jumping out.
Yeah. So now you have to split. So all of a sudden, because the transport, it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
It's not a cheap transport.
And so if you take into account that you're going to need 2 of them to transport just 1 unit of your Hearthkin Warriors, all of a sudden that unit of Hearthkin Warriors is very expensive.
Yeah, but then those Sagitteur are kicking out a lot of firepower themselves.
They are.
Your favourites?
Next, I think these models are really cool. There's Alien/Elysium, if you've seen that film, vibes with the aesthetic. I love the look of the grav weapons that they've got. I love the harnesses. This is for me what they should be. These mining dwarven units, but space mining. Here we go. So we've got the Brockia Thunderkin. They are in units of 3 to 6. This is effectively a Devastator squad. They're a 3+ armor save. They are 3 wounds a pop. So and they're toughness 5 as well. So they're actually pretty resilient. I've got some other issues, but we'll come to that. They are all equipped with a bolt cannon. It's 3 shots, strength 6, -2, damage 2. Cool, fine, but I would argue that you've got smatterings of that sort of firepower elsewhere. You probably don't need it. You can replace the bolt cannons with a Graviton Blast Cannon or an SP conversion beamer. The Graviton Blast Cannon is only 18-inch range. Now, These are an exo frame, so they will not go in a Sagittar.
They can't go in a Sagittar.
Okay, so you've got no transport for them.
Well, they can go in the land fortress.
We'll come to that.
Yes.
We'll come to that. So the Graviton Blast Cannon, 18-inch range, that's a bit of an issue on this unit. It doesn't have a way of deep striking. Omnivisors, each time a model in the unit makes an attack with a ranged weapon, don't receive the benefits of dense cover. That's useful, so they're kind of always hitting on 3s majority of the time, unless it's a lightning fast reflex situation. Now, the Graviton Blast Cannon is D6 shots. So if you've got a unit of 6, that's 6 D6 shots, which is, you know, potentially quite frightening. Yep. It is blast.
Yeah.
So this does make a good horde clearance if the people are bringing bigger units.
Wow.
It is strength 5. Again, if that unit's got grudge tokens on it, then
don't care.
it doesn't matter. That's what becomes
It's still
really
winning
interesting.
most things on freeze.
Yeah. It's -3 and it is damage 2. But if you're a save of 3 or more, it's damage 3. So that could be really nasty.
Boy.
Its one weakness is its range. But
Ymyr!
yeah, you know.
It's still only 22 at
Yeah,
that point.
they can be dealt with. They can be dealt with, you know, like they're not impossible to kill, but the toughness 5 and the 3 wounds is quite spicy because it does mean that your opponent's going to have to level some pretty heavy firepower at them.
Again, void armor.
Or you could go the SP conversion beamer. That is 30-inch range, so now you're getting a bit more of an artillery style thing going on. It is only 1 shot. It is strength 7. It is -2, but it is a base damage 3.
It's also a beam.
Yeah, and the lower strength is arguably ignored because you're probably going to try and shoot this at people with, you know, grudge tokens on. But only 1 shot each, fine. Beam weapon. Each time an attack is made with this or weapon with this weapon hits a unit, if the unit was hit, is wholly more than 15 inches from the firing model, 1 additional hit is scored against the unit. So all of a sudden, it is 1 shot. But it's not 1 shot.
Technically 2 shots.
You've probably got 2 shots. So over a squad of 6, you've got 12 shots.
You're getting 16 hits on average.
These are damage 3.
Yeah, and they're a beam weapon, so they will be... So what you do is you don't fire at the thing in front of you, you fire at the thing further away from you, so that the lines, because you only roll the hit roll, because this is the weird thing with the beam weapons, you only are rolling the hit roll, you're only hitting your original target. So you go, cool, that target's over 15 inches away, so I hit you 5 times, which means I put 5 beams down, which means everything under the line.
That's where the beams get nasty, because you can line it up in such a way that you're just nailing multiple units.
They are 40 points a model, so this is not necessarily a cheap unit.
No,
that's not exactly an expensive
If someone
unit.
put this unit down against me, I will be removing that unit quick time.
I mean, for
okay, that's got to
reference,
go.
Like if that's 40, that's 40 points.
Yeah.
For reference, a Necron Destroyer is also 40 points per model.
Yeah.
And is the same toughness, the same wounds, the same save. Sure, has an 8-inch move and fly, but is only a 24-inch range.
Yeah.
And
These are also core, by the way. I think basically everything in
Everything
the
is core
vehicles
apart from vehicles,
isn't
yeah.
core. It is core, rather.
I'm only strength 5. I'm only 3 shots, but you're hitting multiple units. Like, I would say these are better than the destroyers. For the same points.
I think I would. The Graviton Blast Cannon is very interesting. The issue
like
with
the
D6
Graviton.
weapons is that it is D6. I might roll real hot. I might roll real not.
Damage
So,
3 against Space Marines.
Damage
though.
3 against Space Marines is savage, but the SP conversion beamer is always damage 3.
That's true. I think the conversion beam is the one to go because it's longer range as well.
But the Graviton Blast Cannon is cheaper. So, I mean, look, there is an argument for both. I think if you're not running Ymyr, or even if you are, with the Graviton Blast Cannon, I think you realistically do need a ride.
It's also worth pointing out that much like the rest of the units in this army, it's kind of all or nothing. You can't have a mix. You have to have all the same weapon.
Right. That brings us to the Hecaton Land Fortress.
Your favourite.
This is, now I love the look of this model as well. I'm actually looking forward to playing some games with this force.
Again, because
also, our paint scheme is just
totally aesthetic reasons and fluff, I'm sure.
I think
Just
so.
a little.
I think so. So here's the thing. So Hecaton Land Fortress, it is the Land Raider equivalent. It is 230 points base. You can give it some extra upgrades. You're looking at the 240, 250 range.
But if you guessed that it was better, you'd be right.
It is better than a Land Raider. There is no doubt about it. So it transports 12 models. Exo Armor takes up 2 models. Again, not sure if you'd want to go the Hearthkin route inside the fortress or not. And then exo frame models, for example, the Brockia Thunderkin, take up 3 models. So you could get 4 of them in there if you wanted to. Or you could have them on foot and have conversion beamers and have some longer range anyway. So you've got a 10-inch move. You do degrade, but you degrade better than the Land Raider. So you go from 10 to 8 to 6 inches. Your ballistic skill goes from 3 to 4 to 5. Obviously, you're not core. You can't be buffed unless, of course, you've got the your Tech Marine equivalent, Brogia, who can give you a +1 to hit, which would mean that you'd be hitting on 2s base then, which is pretty nasty. Big news of the day is it is void armor. It is 2+ void armor. So if you did synergize it with something like Ymyr, you'd be looking at 4+ invulnerable save on there, which is pretty savage. It's got 16 wounds and its toughness 8. That's pretty nasty. It's got a plethora of weapons, and it comes in its base cost with 4 bolt cannons, a Martyr autocannon, a cyclic ion cannon, and a pan-spectral scanner. It actually makes a great horde clearance vehicle / anti-elite infantry clearance vehicle right out of the gate. Pan-spectral scanner means ignoring dense, which is nice, so you're not going to get light cover, sorry, not dense. So you're going to be taking your base.
You will take this high AP to your face.
Yeah, so like, for example, the it does have a little misprint here as well. It says that the bolt cannons are 36-inch range Hunter 2, but the bolt cannon in every other page of this book is Hunter 3. So we think that that is a misprint, that it's actually supposed to have 3 shots each.
I think it's Hunter 3 in the War Gear section, which is what I would generally refer to.
Fair enough. Okay, so that would give it 3, 6, 9, 12, strength 6, -2 damage, 2 shots.
Which is already great.
Which is already amazing. Plus, it's got the cyclic ion cannon up top, which is 3d3 shots, which are blast. And those are strength 8, -2 damage 2. So you've just got a ton of -2 damage 2 shots coming your way. If you're firing anything with grudge tokens on it, and they're stacked, 4 pluses to hit are potentially just auto wounding anyway. So that's a lot of -2 saves, which the opponent won't get cover for at damage 2. Pretty nasty right out of the gate. The auto cannon is just another bonus 6 shots at strength 7, -2 damage 2.
Is that a little bonus?
So, you know, it's got a lot of DACA on it. Now, what you can do is you can replace your cyclic ion cannon with one of 3 massive missiles, which are 1 shot only, or a heavy Magna rail cannon.
You replace the scanner with the missiles.
Oh, sorry, the scanner, yeah. Or the cyclic ion cannon is replaced though with the Magna rail cannon or the heavy conversion beamer, which is the heavier version of what the Thunderkin have. Let's go over what you can replace the ion cannon with first, because this is like your top turret weapon, main core thing. So instead of 3d3 strength 8 -2 damage 2 shots, you could go heavy Magna rail cannon, which is 36-inch range, only 1 shot, but this shot slaps. It's strength 14, it's -4, it's 2d3 plus 6 damage. So the average is 10 damage. And because it's Magna Rail, it ignores invulnerable saves.
Oh, that's nasty.
So if you've got a Primarch on the field and they don't have a capped wound per phase thing going on, like a Baden or something, you're going to be taking a lot of wounds.
That's going to hurt.
Yeah. And again, it's
right
more,
in the Magnus.
It's more anti-horde clearance because with judgment tokens, if you roll a 6 to wound and your judgment token hits become auto 6s to wound, that damage spills over.
That's right. That's where it gets real nasty. So on an average of 10 damage for the gun,
you just killed 5 Space Marines.
You can. I mean, wow. Anyway, there we go. You've got to hit, but you'll be hitting on a 2 because you'll probably have your Brokia nearby.
Yeah,
because you also want to be
definitely there.
You also want to be healing 4 wounds on this thing a turn, which is incredibly resilient with a 2+ save, potentially a 4-up invulnerable. You can't re-roll wounds or damage. Okay, paint the picture.
So hard to kill.
Picking up what I'm putting down, nasty. Okay. The other weapon is the SP Heavy Conversion Beamer, 30-inch range. This is 2 shots instead of 1, like the Thunderkin have. It is still strength 8. Well, it's +1 strength. Strength 8, it's -3, it's damage 4. So just better than the lower version in every way.
+1 to everything.
It's a beam weapon, +1 to everything over 15 inches. So you're realistically actually getting 3 hits rather than 2. Another really nasty weapon. Would I take it over the heavy Magna rail cannon? Well, I mean, being beam, it's really interesting at that point as well. It does have more shots.
I think there's units that beam better.
Yeah, there's
not many units that Magna rail better.
No, the Magna rail is just so savage and provides you with an answer to things like Silent King, an answer to I mean that thing destroys a Men Here a turn. But
and does wounds to the other men here.
And does wounds to the other men here, because if you put grudge tokens on them or however you've built it, it's a nasty one.
Well, on average, it kills both men here.
Yeah, exactly, because the damage should carry
Okay then, that's fun.
Now, if you replace your Panspectral Scanner, I'm not sure whether this is worth it or not, because they are all one shot or used once per game. You can go for the Ancestor's Vengeance Warhead, which is D6 shots, 36-inch range. All of these missiles can target units which can't be seen, by the way, not visible, so that's useful. Heavy D6, strength 6, -2, damage 2. It's got damage 3 against vehicles, this particular warhead, and a wound roll of 4+, always wounds. Okay, cool. But again, I kind of like the ignore cover on all the time, and also that comes for free. The warheads you actually need to pay extra points for. Second one's Kin's Wrath Warhead, 2d6 shots, 36-inch range, strength 6, -2, only damage 1, but it is blast. Cool. And then finally you got the Mountain Breaker, 1 shot, strength 10, -3, damage 6. Obviously that is nasty. Could also target units not visible to the bearer, but I mean again it's a once per battle thing.
But so is a Hunter Killing Missile.
Yeah.
Oh sorry, a Hunter Slaying Missile at strength 10.
No, these
That's D6.
These make the Hunter Slayer missiles look.
There's no thriller in that, killer.
The Tassian. Allow me to refer you to the Tassian Arrow.
Yes.
The greatest bit of technological marveling that the Necrons have ever devised. The condensed dark matter of a star, shrunken down into a sliver, attached to your forearm and fired into the D6 damage. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
One.
D6 damage almost always slaps.
If I hit.
Keyword, interesting, it does have accelerated, so it could be synergized with strats. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
They're amazing. They're for their points, one of the best gunships in the game.
Yeah.
But gunboats in the game. There's an argument that you would always take at least one, especially when you're lacking transport and you probably want infantry in transport.
I take 2 and 2 Broheems.
Yeah. Iron Warriors player speaking here, of course, makes sense.
And I put 3 of the Thunderkin in each with their beams.
You could do that.
I wouldn't put them in there with the beams though, because you don't want to be close for the beams. I'd put them in there with the Graviton blast cannons.
Look, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give a little summary of my thoughts. Because, just gone over the rules again. Again, we've yet to play a game. I think the army is very powerful.
Yes.
I do think it's very powerful. I do see it having some issues, actually. So, I don't think it's going to come in and smash the meta in terms of winning every single tournament around. I don't, because I think Tyranids are still better. I think Tyranids will mortal wounds them off the table, and I don't think they have much of an answer for that. Weirdly, even Grey Knights are a kind of a weak, sort of good anti to them. I also feel, looking at them and reading their rules, they're really, really, really strong and they can do some frightening damage. But the other side to that is, when you take away the cheap cost of the infantry and you supplement it with the expensive vehicles that they've got, they start to become actually a little bit elite in look. I mean, sure, you could run 3 land fortresses.
You would, but you don't have to.
I mean, that would just look cool.
Would
but,
it?
I mean, that's 700 plus points at that
that's
point.
also 790 points that ain't dying.
Yeah, I mean, it is extremely resilient depending on who you're playing. If someone's got a lot of mortal wound output, that could be a problem for you. I mean, mortal wounds are a problem for everyone, right? So Tyranids are doing very well right now. I'm kind of curious as to how they will be run competitively. I think the Pioneers still are a great unit. The troops without a transport, perhaps you could see a sort of horde thing going on. I mean, if they were Ymyr, they could actually be a bit of a problem because you've got lots of invulnerable safe troops then.
High range.
Maybe you don't go down the transport path.
I don't think you
maybe
do,
you do
though,
keep
Ken.
them cheap, and you just rely on your bikes and maybe 3 land fortresses. The thing is, there are a few different builds which are quite interesting from a competitive point of view. We will talk more about those combinations in our video over and on demand, but those are my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Anything to add before we wrap it?
I think in getting away from the book for a second, great value box once again.
Yeah, really good value box.
A really good starting point.
We don't know exactly what the cost is yet, but assuming it's costed similar to the previous army boxes. Yeah.
There's a bit of presumption there. But when you consider all of the models you get, the special edition codex, the cards and the tokens and stuff, it's probably going to be pretty good value. And also, I think, based on the book, a really good way to start the army, because most of these units aren't out yet.
Yeah.
But just sort of to get you going, get your basic troops and a few characters, and those bikes, which I think are a bit of a sleeper, they're great.
Because they're OBSEC as well. They just got a lot. They offer a lot for their points compared to suppressors.
Yeah, it's a good little box. I think there are definitely some challenges that people might see with some of the army rules. Potentially, the grudge tokens are pretty mega, but like you say, we'll have to see how they do when they start going, because it's going to be a while until you really see the armies. Like, if you think about the tournament scene, none of the stuff's out yet.
No.
So for it to be out to then build and paint, it's going to be a little while before we get a really good understanding of how they're going to do, but I think they're going to do very well.
Yes, I think they will do very well too. Your final thoughts?
The book is incredibly strong. It's incredibly powerful. They do have weaknesses. I think the speed and the range of weapons could cause them a bit of an issue. But weirdly, it's a similar thing that Tyranid players are finding at the moment in terms of competitive, which they go, oh, well, our weakness is we've got bad secondaries. Secondaries don't matter if your opponent's tabled by turn 3.
Yeah.
Same problem. Yeah. Your speed and your OBSEC and this, it doesn't matter if you've blown your opponent away. You do not want to get close to these guys. No. And even when you do, they've got ways around it. They can fall back and shoot. They can shoot into combat with stratagems and stuff. And these stratagems aren't expensive. They're like 1 CP. They've got a lot of tools in their box. And their main weaknesses are, realistically, they're not that mobile.
Yeah.
But their mobility doesn't matter too much if you've got all the time in the world to go and do what you need to do later in later turns, because there won't be anything else to withstand against you. I think they will eventually settle into a gatekeeper style army in terms of the competitive scene. They will be one of those things where
like a 4-1.
I think I mean, quite frankly, if you're taking one of these to a tournament and you're going less than 3-2, if not 4-1, then you've had terrible Bard level dice rolls. You've taken Bard's dice rolls and Beard's dice and gone and created a mega.
A child.
A mega fail.
So
I think they're definitely going to be one of those armies where a lot of people are just going to go, oh, I've drawn against them. Cool, this is going to be a bad time for me. Yeah. Are they going to be like winning events with like 75% win rate, like release day Harlequins or current Tyranids? I don't think so, but they are absolutely going to upset the meta. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to upset the meta in a like GT winning way. I think they're going to upset the meta in you have to build to deal with them, otherwise you are not getting anywhere near the top tables. And then the problem with that is you go, well, if you're built to deal with them, I'm not dealing with Tyranids, or I'm not able to deal with the Necrons OBSEC, or I'm not able to deal with this.
Tricky one.
So, I mean, that is kind of the beauty of competitive meta. I think in casual games, you're going to have a lot more of a problem, though, because these are going to be absolutely horrible to play against.
Yeah, you could, I think they can be built in a really fun way too, though, but I think generally speaking,
you're gonna have to handicap yourself.
Yeah, you are. If you're running the leagues and you're playing your buddies, you're probably depending on what your buddies run, you might need to tone it down. That I actively list right with a toning down in your thought process. But look, really cool. Again, thank you to Games Workshop for sending us this box set. We've got plenty of battle reports coming up with this force, and we'll of course be adding to the force with that beautiful color scheme Fletcher has done for us as new units come out. I'm personally looking forward to running the buggies, looking forward to trying out Land Fortress, the bikes. Going to try it all.
Again,
we're going to try it all. Well, I like the aesthetics. Right, look,
okay, right. I know we're meant to be finishing, right?
Captain Salt over here doesn't like the
Excuse
aesthetics,
me.
But I do.
I like one model in this book. One model, I'll have you know. I know we want to wrap up, but this is something that we've mentioned before, and I know you kind of alluded to it at the beginning. The conglomerate design, like that sort of neo-noir, like the big tech, the anime influence. I think that would be really cool if it was anything other than dwarves.
Yeah. So I mean,
This guy, where is this guy? Beard's favorite dude, his new best friend. Where are you? Where is this? Look, this guy.
Yeah, he's
imagine a race of aliens, right? Which I know this is what they technically are.
Yeah.
A race of aliens that aren't dwarves, but they're just like, yeah, we're just here to trade, bro. We're just here to, like, you know, we're going to sell you some stuff. And then you just go, oh, the
plasma?
Yeah, you want some, like, really good plasma, really good ion tech? And then they go, well, you're just merchants, we'll kill you. And they go, you know, well, unfortunately, our standing force of literal cyber zombies will deal with you. And you go, oh, that's really cool. Oh, because that would just be a commodity that, look, okay, this is for another video.
Yeah, it's for another video.
Want them next, please. Please.
No, Exodites,
It would have been cool. Like
if we're going old school,
Exodites would be cool. But I mean, like, maybe they will now. I mean, I never thought they'd bring the squats back. But
No one did.
Maybe
No
they
one
will
did.
do
No,
that.
the memes did. The memes have foresawn a lot of things.
Yeah,
But maybe now if we can all meme about Exodites, please.
Well, for now, that is this video concluded. You will see them in battle reports here very, very shortly. For now, I've been Lawrence, he's been Chef, and he's been Beard. Goodbye for now.
Bye!
What?
Poor iron weapons.
Yeah.
They just got dobbed off by a Del Boy dwarf. Pelham and Galactic traders.